3, 2, 1.
Light them up.
I'm Paul.
This is Buck.
This is the Paul and Buck Show.
Hey, the big bucking deal. Hear us. Download the latest app at paulandbuckshow.podbean.com.
We're back. We've got a different group, family effort here. Guys, y'all been around here for a while, racing streets and track. And so I'm just going to let y'all talk. Let us know who you guys are.
Feel free to introduce yourself.
Yeah. I'm Cindy Smith. I'm Kevin Smith's wife.
And you are?
Kevin Smith.
Richard Smith.
Dylan Smith.
Dylan Smith. Awesome, guys. Hey, so a lot of people around CenTex, they probably know this family.
Yeah, we were just having a little conversation. Yeah. Turns out, again, old school.
Everybody knows everybody.
Everybody knows everybody. Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll continue and just.
Well, I tell you what. Let's go ahead and. Where are you from? Where were you born and raised?
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas, as well as your brother, right?
Same, yeah.
Yep. So okay, awesome. So, where'd you go to high school?
Lanier.
Lanier.
Okay,
Lanier
guys. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Me too.
Oh,
all right.
Peyton Gym. Right. Well, that's off of Peyton Gym, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
We're from the hood.
Yeah,
Now.
I know that because
it is.
I know it because for 10 years I worked at the Dell Factory Outlet there, right there on Peyton Gym.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, cool deal, guys from Austin. So, what got you guys started in cars? What was your interest?
Yeah. What?
Of course, it was our dad.
Of course, it was family.
Dad had a street car back in the
There
day.
you go.
What years were these? What were you talking about?
71 Mustang Fastback.
And what year were you talking about that he had the cars and racing?
From like 76 to, he raced to about 89 or something like that.
So this was street racing, like Austin always has had.
Oh yeah,
Mostly
no
street.
track, so it's
Oh no, he used to go to the track.
But
Yeah.
He raced in a lot of Mustang Club.
right.
yeah,
They used to have those races.
or Mustang versus Pontiac.
I have video, so I'm gonna have to go look at that video, and I'm pretty sure now I'm gonna know.
You see a Mustang on there just whooping everybody.
Yeah.
He's got like a lot of trophies from those races.
Yeah, he drove that car everywhere. I mean, he worked down off of South Lamar at Foodland. He'd drive it all the way from North Austin there every day.
Wow. I remember that Foodland. I was a little kid, and I used to ride my bike around that thing, the freestyle in the 80s.
He was real good friends with old Big Steve's gym right next door.
Oh, really? Wow, wow. That's crazy. So, yeah, that brings some flashbacks, so I'm kind of like pausing because I'm getting like a little stream of back then. All right, so that's what it was, man. South Austin, there's no drag strip. There's never been a plan for a drag strip around here. The only one that was shot, they closed it in the 70s. Yeah, nobody even knows that it's there. It's here in Round Rock. No, Round Rock.
They had one in Oak Hill.
Yeah, they had that one.
That was the first one.
Yeah, that was a very early.
Yeah, the one out off of
1325.
Yeah, Motorola, where Motorola was at. Yeah, that was early days.
We knew about that.
Yeah,
we were kids. We used to go out there and mess around on that track.
Really? Where Motorola is? Are you talking about the
1325?
Old Austin Raceway.
Austin Raceway Park.
35.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. That's the one.
Yeah, because it's kind of still there. I guess.
Not no more. There's a bunch of apartments there now.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
Houses, buildings.
But that's going to be everywhere. Everybody's.
Yeah, we went in there. We went in there right before they started building the gas station and that facility. So the back end of it was still there, and there's a little neighborhood on the other side, and they actually used to go jogging. And that they had no clue what it was, and that's how I take photos. But it's all covered up. But they still had they barricaded it with dump trucks dumping dirt on it. And it'd been like that forever. And somebody thought it was just a road to cross over to Mopac. And I said, no, this is actually a drag strip. And so when I told somebody, man, it just little by little more people kept going, and then somebody got on a plane, did some aerial shots of it. And but that's only been, and that was actually they used to drag race inside that area back in the early 70s, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's where your dad probably raced.
Well, the demise of that track, I think, was my dad tells the stories of dragsters going across 1325.
Yeah, that was mentioned.
Because that thing goes downhill, and then
Right.
they couldn't stop and go across.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna tell the story because I don't know it. It was told him just recently, but I don't know if you're aware of the name Butch Lake.
Oh yeah.
He's a good friend of mine, and so I was talking to him.
You know his brother, his hands.
Hand, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad was real good friends with him too.
Was he? Well, Butch Lake told me the story of one of the cars that crossed over, and so when I bring him on, I'll let him tell us those. He has way better
Yeah,
detail than my stuff.
He was
he
back
actually
then,
raced at that track.
Oh,
Yeah, he actually did. He had the wagon. That wagon
Yeah.
actually used to be parked next to my house for the longest, and I was always trying to buy it off the guy who had it, and he wouldn't budge, right? And so I tell him, and he's like, "Yeah, I've been trying to get that car myself back. I can't get it." so he wants his car.
Well, that's
back.
an iconic car.
It is.
It
It's
is,
very iconic. I think
Yeah.
Jesse James was trying to buy it at one point because it was Austin Speed Shop, the original.
Yeah, the original speed
the
up there.
name. So yeah, there's a lot of interest in everybody wanting that car, and it's still around. It's painted and everything. It shows up every now and then to car shows, but it still stays in the same spot. So anyway, with you guys, so tell us, man, what was it like to hang out with your dad back then? This is the '80s, early '80s. Greg tells us a story about his drag. That's when he was drag racing, and we got Greg here, and he's like,
You probably don't remember.
Micro was the fastest back then, the fastest, So you're Ford, so now we're gonna see the Ford side of things, and
He used to like be asleep in the back
Yeah.
seat at the street races.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Late
My dad
nights.
had to wake him up. Hey, I'm
Oh,
fixing
yeah.
to race. Get out the car.
It's time to go. That was late night deal.
Yeah, we were
right?
just talking about when the cops would show up and take them licenses and
Oh, they run out of stacks of driver's
yeah,
licenses.
yeah,
like that,
we
man.
adapted by the early '90s. Don't take your license when you take
We're-
it.
I was letting them on the inside of the
Yeah.
longest chase ever.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
uh-oh.
Yeah.
You said-
We'll ask you specific about that one.
Oh, why don't you roll into it? Because your
once
name
you-
came
yeah.
up, right? Your
So
name
that's how
came
we
up.
started actually
Yeah.
to that one. So
Oh.
so it's safe to talk about it now.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We're not gonna
back
get a
in,
door
okay.
knock and get a stack of licenses here because we got quite a bit.
Yeah.
Nah, it was like, we were at Decker Lake Road and it was
Yeah.
like, used to be like,
About what year was that?
83 or 4.
no,
You were 16.
no, it was like
And-
79.
Was it that early?
Yeah. I was like
Anywho.
16.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever it was.
You
But-
know.
I graduated high school at 83.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
thinking about me, Ben.
Yeah, so yeah, we were out there and I just like started driving my car. My
Yeah.
dad was out there racing and he had his car out there. And actually, Greg Wright and this guy, Kenny Pearson, he had this Mustang called the Purple Horse,
Okay.
badass Mustang. And they were lined up fixing to race. And the sheriff came
Yeah.
up on them and it was like, it was like 200 or 300 cars out there
Yeah,
all
it's-
alongside of
yeah, they parked on the side
all
of the
hot
track.
rods, not like regular cars,
Yeah. Yeah.
real cars.
Yeah.
And me not knowing anything, it's like everybody like turned and got in a line on the right side, and
Yeah.
I was on the inside lane,
Yeah.
and I look back and here's the sheriff. He was a pretty good ways
He
back,
came up from behind.
and
Okay.
I was like, he's after me.
Okay.
He was trying to get to the front of the line to
Man.
block everybody off, to
Mm-hmm.
stop everybody down before they got to 290. And I just matted my Mustang, and me and my friends ran the stop sign down there and just got on
What
290.
friends?
I don't want to incriminate
Okay.
those guys. Anyway,
So they chased you.
oh yeah, they chased. Well, he gave chase, but he
Yeah.
never got even very close to me at all. And shoot, we got to like up 290, and I seen another sheriff go this way,
And
and
they're on you.
we turned on 183, and here comes another one. That the roads were a lot different back then,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I zoomed up to like Runberg, Cameron Road. Up Cameron Road we went, over to Runberg, and then
Runberg.
down here. Everywhere I went, there was another one. They never
Yeah.
could get to the road ahead of me to block
Right.
me off, and we kept getting by them. And finally, we got to like Runberg and went under the bridge right
Yeah.
there, and I made a quick turn right and left. There was a pancake house there.
Yeah.
And Lee Dykes used to live right behind that pancake house,
Okay.
and we stopped right there, and we watched on the access road through the privacy fence.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, about 15
Jeez.
sheriffs, DPS just fly by,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, we're safe.
gone, yeah.
That's the neighborhood
Yeah,
we
yeah.
lived in back there. Kind of drove back to the house, and then like 15 minutes later, they were Sergeant Ricks, big sheriff. I'll never forget his
I
name.
remember his name.
He was beating on the door. My mom answered the door. Said, Kevin, they want to talk to you. Yes.
Like that was kind of a surprise. I'm sure your mom was surprised too, right? But so after that ordeal, did
Yeah.
Did they take your car
Yeah,
away?
did
What-
they-
what-
Oh yeah, they searched it and impounded it. They were like, why are you running from me like that? You
Yeah.
know, it's like, you have drugs. I was like, no.
I'm just,
I'm just
you're a kid,
dumb.
I'm just like going up. I didn't know what to do.
And
right?
I had a
Yeah.
fast car.
yeah,
Well,
it was
they,
like,
well, they would intimidate. I mean, it was real intimidating when they'd show up to a spot. Like they would overdo it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you're just parked there, not even doing anything. But they were like gonna intimidate. They were gonna set an example. So you don't know if they're just gonna take your car just for being parked there. I mean, there was no law back then for that. But still,
Well, back
were
then
like
they would
real
always offer, we're gonna write loitering tickets for everybody
Loitering,
here.
Loitering, yeah.
And they never did.
No,
They're just
It was just a
scaring
threat,
you.
yeah.
They're just scaring you. Yeah.
so you took off. You
Police were
hightailed
much
it.
different back
Yeah.
then.
yeah, I thought we escaped, and then of course we lived on the corner lot, and there was all the cars, all the cop cars parked. They were all drawn
Yeah.
down with their guns and stuff, like spotlights on the house all lit up.
Looked like a bank robbery.
What did he do?
I didn't see them till my car off.
Street racer.
They already took me to the. Well, they were gonna take me to jail. And my mom goes, "No, you can't take him to jail. He's only 16 years old." And they were like, "Brr." "Oh man, what? 16?
That killed it.
Like, hello.
Damn, you gotta go to Gardner House."
So where'd they take it? The one on Congress somewhere?
Yeah, down there, South
I
Congress
used to
at
walk by
Garden
that
House.
damn thing all the time.
Yeah, and I was
The
down there, and
That's the juvie.
then so like, you know, the sheriff was over there for like an hour, man, writing me like I got 7 tickets. First time I ever got any tickets, he wrote 7 tickets, and I signed 7 tickets, and then I went into jail, whatever, didn't sleep none,
Yeah.
and I didn't know when I'm going to get out of that place or whatever. So in the morning time, my dad came to pick me up, and I'm thinking, man, I'm gonna get my ass beat when he gets here. But he had the biggest smile on his face. And I was like, what's he talking about? What's he smiling? Why was he all happy? But he had gone to pick up my car from the impound yard before he came to get me. And I guess the impound yard people told him, man, that's the baddest Mustang in the,
Oh, wow.
and he done outran every Travis County sheriff and DPS in Austin.
Town.
Yeah.
And
Have all food.
told him a big story and everything. So yeah, I didn't get in much trouble.
So they impounded it over off of what is it?
I don't know where they
Lamar?
took it.
Where it's always been there, right? The
used to
DPS station.
be like a central towing place back,
Oh,
back then. No, you're right. I mean,
That's where it was.
Yeah.
Because there's a guy, a friend of ours, but he didn't want to come on. He's like, "Nah, man, I still work there. I can't be associated with y'all,
Oh,
man."
yeah.
What?
But he's
Yeah.
been there long enough. He's our age.
Yeah.
But there was a guy there that was older than us, and he's the engine guy. So he
For
knew all the
DPS,
5.0 cars, and it was. I mean, we used to go to him and say, "Hey, you have a block," you know. But that guy is about, our dad's age, somewhere around there, and he retired. I don't know how long ago, but
Yeah.
he must have been there when he seen your car. Is it gonna come
Probably.
up for auction? Because those cars were real nice back then. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have like
Is it-
slot
He still
center lines,
has
what you
it.
have on it.
Yeah.
No, it was just like
Back then it
stock
didn't have the
wheels.
stock wheels,
It was
yeah.
all
Just fixed.
original. Yeah, 351 Cleveland. 273 rear end.
Oh,
It
really?
was the highway
That was
star.
highway car boy. Yeah.
Moving.
Top end.
Yeah, we were doing like way over 100 miles an hour, and my friend he patted me on the leg. Slow down, Kevin. He's way back there.
And those
He's
cars,
way back there.
when you go over 100 or so, the windows start
Yeah.
hitting
Suck
those
it
little
in.
things.
Yeah.
Jeez. And what year was this one?
73.
73. Okay. Oh, that was like the bullet. The bullet.
Yeah,
the
kind of
original
that by
bullet.
style, I guess,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it was the last year they made a big Mustang.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
then they went to Mustang too.
74,
Yeah.
it got like
Yeah.
not a Mustang.
Yeah, it's not a Mustang.
I don't know why people love. I'm gonna get that Cobra too. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Why do you want to do that? Suspension part? No, the whole car. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was basically a Pinto, basically.
Yeah, the rack. What do you want, a rack?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right. So, where do you guys move up from that point on? What do you have? What are you doing back then while he's having fun?
Well, until I was 16 or 15, I didn't have my car sat there until I was 16 till I drove it. I had a 71 Cougar. It had a 4-barrel Cleveland in it.
Yeah.
And,
So y'all just followed your dad around. It's basically your dad had
To that point.
yeah,
right?
yeah, to that point until we got our car. I got mine
Yeah.
and his. We started racing a bunch, and
Yeah.
we'd go out there. My dad would go out there too, but then he kind of started slacking off at the end there, and we go out
Passing the
every
rain to y'all.
yeah, we go out every weekend, every Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
We were like the grunts. You know, he never had any. Well, when he first got married, he sold everything because I was being born, and he had a new house, and it's like he got rid of all his stuff.
Yeah.
And he had a 4-wheel drive truck, and that's all I ever knew. We 4-wheel drive truck, and then one day I see him come home in a Mustang,
Yeah.
coming down the street. I was
Dragging it.
Who's that? Oh, his dad. And
Got a new toy.
yeah, and then slowly he like got.
Didn't take long. He
He
bought
got
some headers,
headers, intake. He got all this. Started gathering all these parts, and then when he got it all together, he had us out there one weekend. Clean those valve covers. Clean this up.
Yeah.
That's how we learned how to work on cars.
That's where it starts. Yeah.
He told us what to do. We did it. He just supervised it. And
That's the way that's the way it always starts off, right? And you always get yelled at. Oh, that's wrong. Get the 9/16. Not the, so that's how you learn, right? So
Hold that light down in my face.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man, that's classic. He's laughing over there. He's laughing. He's trying. You're making him remind like all the crap I got. You know that 10 millimeter though. Come on.
That's how you learn, right? So
Yeah.
that's how So that's awesome. So at that time when you guys started going around, and so that's kind of 80s. I'm assuming y'all started going around.
70s, 80s.
Yeah. So and then how of course the scene we've had a couple of street guys on right from that time, right? So the scene was happening, right?
Oh, it was
Yes,
big.
it
It was
was
big.
a parking lot
HEB
and-
parking lot off of
There you go.
It was.
off of Anderson Lane.
There'd be
Many
easily
parking
100
lots.
cars in the parking lot, race
that right?
cars. Yeah.
Well, we didn't even know. We wouldn't even never know where they hung out. My dad we'd go cruising around on Friday night, and his car just like looking for a race.
Yeah.
And one time we came back we were coming up North Lamar, and this guy was this badass Chevelle, 68 Chevelle, pull up next to us, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And he read the shit out of it. My dad said, I remember he had a little cigarette hanging out of his mouth. He goes, "Oh, you want some, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah."
That's the signal.
Like-
See that little cherry light up.
He pulled that,
It's like, okay.
pulled that shifter back to low gear, ran it light turn green. We just like romped on that guy. That Chevelle ran good, but not good enough.
I got you, man.
And it was stick. So
Yeah.
we jumped him, and then he pulled back up beside us, but then he had to clutch it. And then when my dad shifted, we pulled off from him, and then once we got to high gear, we just walked him.
That's
And then we got to Lamar Airport. He goes, "Oh, you want some more?" And he was like, "Okay." And then we walked him again. And so like a couple weeks went by,
Yeah.
and we went out to eat like at Poncho's over there on Bird
Oh,
Road
yeah,
in Mom's car.
Poncho.
And we were coming.
Oh,
Just
there
so
was a
hap-
north. I forgot about
we
that.
just so happened to be coming up Anderson Lane, and then we drove by that HEB parking
There it
lot
is,
right there, and there was
we got found.
there's all these cars. It was like, what the hell? And we pulled in my dad's right back to the house. We got in his car and went back up there. And as soon as we pulled in the parking lot, these guys were like, "Oh, don't mess with that car. That's 460 twin turbo, all this stuff." It was like, twin turbo, 460.
What are you talking
Nobody even knew that car, but he had a rear end that he got, and it used to whine
Real,
like it was
real
a used
sound like a
turbo,
blower.
and it
They
would
thought
whine.
it was some
minute
Jordan-
he
some-
heard
Something that guy, I
whistle,
guess that guy Russell Paver was the dude's name.
Yeah.
He went back and like told everybody, "Man, that car just whooped my ass," and don't race him.
Boy,
And so the guy Mike Carter, he had a Nova. He was like the king of the street,
Yeah.
whatever back then. They pulled his car down by the HEB under the lights, and some other guy's car, I don't remember whose car it was, and unbolted his nitrous kit and put it onto Mike Carter's car right there in the parking lot.
Wow.
And then to race my dad.
Is that right?
Yeah. And then
So your dad had the rep already, right? So he
Yeah.
already had the car and the reputation.
Yeah.
That's good. So other than HEB, what were some of the other spots that, they
Mr.
mentioned some other spots? Gaddy's.
oh, that was the high school kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know there was
And then
a
they moved to Kmart.
Yeah,
Kmart for a while.
Kmart.
South,
Woolworth, or no, Woolco. What was
Yeah.
the name of that?
That was over there in Anderson Lane.
Yeah,
Brake
that was,
check, there's a
that
brake
was
check.
HEB.
That was South Austin.
South Austin. Did
Ben
y'all guys go
White.
down there?
Every now and then
Yeah.
we'd go down there, and that was like the River Rats against the
Yeah.
north side guys.
And then for a while we hung out at Super Shops on Burnt Road.
Right, yeah, that was a little spot there. That was kind of my time.
Yeah, when you guys go from, it's been like that even up until the 90s.
Yeah.
Whenever the North guys came over, it's like, oh, there's a new car. There's a new car just showed up, and the guys from South Austin, it was always the usual. And I was just texting them. I say, man, you guys gonna come up here? Because, they were the one with the nitrous and all that stuff. They would always just hang out in the back. And when you go up there, hey, so looks pretty good. What's in there? That's just a 305. Yeah, they would always bullshit
Oh,
you.
yeah.
You know? Or you know, one of the other stories was, you know, don't stick your hand behind that carburetor. You know, they intentionally cut your finger. You know, that way you can't feel around for the solenoid. You know? But yeah, we, you know, ever since then, I mean, we always knew if there's a guy coming in, it was always usually south versus north, and every now and then you'd catch Taylor,
Yeah.
or you'd catch. It's always fun racing the guys that came from Temple, you know, because those cars were like really hot. You know, they'd come down and you'd be like, ooh, that's nasty. That's a nasty car.
A lot of them guys from South also had some bad cars back then. You know, Jay Presley and
Yeah.
I mean Cedar.
Cedar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean David Buckner had a bad '57.
Buckner, I can't get him. He's a good friend of mine. I don't know if I can get him on here.
He still got that car.
Yeah, it's in his garage. He turned it back on. I guess a couple of years ago. He just repaired his heads, and but he had like bow tie heads. He had a roller
He had the shit back
He had
then.
from back then.
He was
had
way
the
ahead of
top-notch
everybody.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And-
Him and Lee Dykes had all the top notch stuff too back then.
Yeah, he told me that he goes, yeah, Lee Dyke, man, when he saw what I was doing, he goes, man, he took me out to Jim's cafeteria, and I think he was just looking to find out what all I had done to the car before he raced me or something, you know.
Buttering him up.
Yeah, he was trying to butter me up. He's like, we were laughing, but yeah, he sent me some photos and stuff a long time ago because I was trying to put photos before all this happened, and so we've always had some great times talking. We still hang out over at Cabela's in Buda.
Yeah.
So we'll go out there.
We've
We
been
hang
there
out
a
in the
few
bear.
times.
Yeah, we hang out. It's a drive, but you know, we still go out there and
Yeah.
whenever we get a chance, and we hang out. And I'm like, "Where's your car?" "Oh, it's at home." You know, but he's got a nice little yellow
SSR.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
still has that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's got a lot of stuff done to it too.
Yeah, for a little while there, we were doing, because nobody was racing for a while. The Fast and Furious era, it killed it, you know.
Yeah.
So we were going to San Antonio, and so it was the Sal Austin guys that we all got together. We just go out there and we'd hang out on a Friday night and do some running. And he kept bolting stuff on that damn thing, and it just kept getting faster and faster. And I took the lightning out. I took your buddy out, and I'm like, damn, you're getting quicker. But he couldn't find like the right tires for those big wheels. And but he's straight up, you know, street. And man, it's hard to get him to even sit here and show his head and you know under a light bulb.
Yeah.
He's not even on Facebook. You know?
Really?
No.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, he used to come hang out when we were hanging out at Rainy Performance a lot.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the last times I saw Fat Pat was over there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Used
Was
to
that
be
about
pretty
was it about like the early 2000s?
90s, I guess.
90s,
Yeah,
I
maybe early 2000s.
I think we got run off of Palmer, the Palmer Auditorium
Yeah.
parking lot,
Yeah.
and so the guy at Super Shops invited all of us, and he should have never done that because we overpowered that little parking. Even Murillo showed up one day and
Oh,
really
yeah.
screwed it all up.
Well,
There was no parking.
We used to go out and race Murillo. We'd meet them
Yeah.
down on Ben White at the Taco Bell down there.
Yeah.
Taco Bell.
They'd bring their cars up there on the trailer with the one with the American flag on it and stuff.
Yeah.
And we started hanging out down there at Applebee's up there on way out south at
Oh.
Best Buy.
Best
Yeah.
Buy at
That was
Applebee's.
another one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big meat spot down there at that
Yeah.
part in time.
Yeah.
Love Taco Cabana.
Oh, that's recent times.
Oh,
A lot more recent.
okay.
Yeah, the last one that I remember was hanging out over at the Applebee's or whatever it was.
Was
Oh
it-
yeah,
Academy.
we'd fill that part up.
Serranos or things
Mhm,
right
yeah,
there.
there you go.
Wasn't it like a strip mall or something there? Where like,
It's right off. It's Mopac.
Best Buy.
In
is it
71?
71?
Yeah, 71 and Best
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Up there.
Okay.
And then we would go down and go
Southwest
down
Parkway.
Southwest Parkway that way,
Yeah.
or we go down Mopac that way. We race both ways.
Did they
either
super
way.
days run in that Southwest Park?
yeah, I ran a few times on there, man. So you just sit in the parking lot and just watch everybody go.
Oh, yeah.
race down.
Yeah, them cops do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a funny story because I do remember that
Yeah.
Southwest Parkway because it's a funny story. Like maybe I'll get into it some other time. But that I actually took that brown truck down there because I used to go to school at Southwest School of Electronics. Right
Oh
there.
yeah, that was right there. Yeah.
And a lot of you guys, you might know this guy, but a guy named Steve Wiley.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I met Steve in '91. He got a degree in electronics with me.
Did he?
He had an old '67 Chevy. We raced down that road one
Yeah.
time, and it was like it kind of went down, kind of dipped down a little bit, and anyway, so that was a long story.
But you've been
back
there.
then there was nothing there. I mean, this was '91, so there was nothing there. It was just the roads there. Which now I'm sure it's not.
Yeah, now it's a
No,
big
yeah, it's
concrete
big.
highway, you know, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but,
funny.
I
So
don't even
that,
think
that
it
was the
went-
place y'all used to go meet there.
we had quite a bit of places because we used
Did
to-
y'all go meet at do the Cabela thing?
Yeah, we went down for a few times. We've been
Yeah.
down there.
I heard
We
it
used to go down there a lot when they were road racing a lot.
Mm.
You know, Junkie and Dave and all them had the Mustangs, LS Turbo stuff.
So yeah, so moving forward with the with getting with because that atmosphere, like we knew it was coming. Like, man, this is dying. I don't know what's going on,
Yeah.
but because we used to hang out at Manchac, and you know, Greg and those guys would show up to our little get together. Yesterday we just had one of the Mustang guys, Brad Lind. He was talking about because he was the Mustang side of things, but you know, it was kind of dying out, and
Yeah.
we're like, man, well, you know, what's racing gonna turn into? And Brad had the turbo set up, like one of the early, the fast stuff, and I remember I'm like, man, this thing is like really, it's faster than most of the cars around here with nitrous and big blocks, you know, and so everything kind of just started going to San Antonio. You wouldn't hearing too much
That's what
street
you
racing no
thought.
more.
There was still stuff
That's
going
what
on.
you thought.
Well, I mean, when you guys kept it going,
Everybody kept it on the down low better.
Yeah.
Everybody started keeping it secret
So-
it
to
was
keep
still
all
going
the.
on then.
Well, there were so many people that would come spectate. I mean, it was
Yeah.
crazy.
And it would kind of ruin the thing.
Yeah, because you'd have
it
you
brings
go out there,
attention
you
to
have
cops.
10 or 15 cars to go out there and race, but if you had
Yeah.
200 other cars
No,
following them at a
right.
line, you know, it looked like a circus kind of.
Nah, I got you.
I know it was the road racing took off. That was like.
I think what a lot like killed like the drag racing too is like the computer age cars, you know,
Yeah.
because like there was a little gap right there where I thought, man, that's the end of racing. We got
Right.
who
Computer
can mess with
stuff.
the computer? You know,
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
do nothing, and nobody could for a long time.
For a long time.
And
right?
back
And then
in-
I saw like a man in a Corvette one time. I was like, boom, 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 new car. I was like, what the hell? How did you get your car to sound like that? He goes, yeah, some guys in Houston did it.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Well, back in them
somebody-
days, you couldn't afford to buy a turbo setup early. They
Yeah.
were expensive.
Yeah.
Now you can get on eBay or something, buy you some cheap stuff and throw it
Right,
together
right,
quick. You know.
right. That is true.
I think the only program back then was a Hypertech.
Yeah.
Programmer.
Up, down, yes, no.
Yeah.
And we didn't know anything. I bought my first nitrous setup from Lee Dykes. It was a jet boat plate, had the solenoids mounted on it, said Lee on it. He had Bubba engraved it on there, you know. And that was in like '83.
Wow.
And
Well, of course, you know, Greg Wright and Lee, they were probably one of the only ones back then.
Don't run
that
there
had
wasn't
that-
very many people that
was
had
up-
nitrous back then.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And
Well, there's
I
probably-
believe it.
More than you think. 'Cause
They
a lot
had
of people,
them
a lot of
before
people
now.
hit it back then.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
few hidden.
Booker had his
They had this-
real hidden.
Some of these people had it
Gary
hit under the
Langford had
intake.
it,
Yeah,
hidden.
yeah. I've heard some stories, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it makes sense. But even at that time, when stuff started, you know, I'll say it started fizzling out,
Yeah.
right? But it was still alive. Apparently, it was still there somewhere. You just kind of
Oh,
had to
yeah.
go find it. Right?
Well,
Yeah.
the next generation was coming up. You know, it was like
But we
My
were
dad's-
still every weekend out on the streets,
Oh, yeah.
riding around
we used to
looking
go
for
over there
these
to
parking lots that would
Circuit
have.
City,
Circuit City.
the
So-
Best Buy
and
over
then
there on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
360.
360 and one,
ATX
yeah.
Oh, it used to be a
like
big.
that.
That's how y'all found those guys?
So let
Yeah.
me tell yeah. So we found ATX Dig by chance. I mean,
Wow.
Is that right?
yeah. Kevin went out one weekend. I wasn't with him that weekend, but
Oh, Destry told me to go.
yeah,
You gotta,
Destry.
you gotta take your truck up to this Taco Cabana.
Yeah.
And man, I was like,
The
oh,
one
no.
up north right here, the Mopac.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is
Mopac.
closed there now.
Yeah.
But it used to be.
I drove in there
So-
once. I said, I hear there's some shit going on. I drove up there one day and they were all like, oh,
Well,
this car went to.
Didn't the import kind of screw all that shit?
No,
up?
they
It
did.
is.
They
Yeah.
did. But thanks
No offense,
to Chris
but-
Calabrese.
So is that the same guy with the Firebird wave?
Yes. Well,
Wow.
No.
No.
It was another one.
It was another
No, he-
guy, I think.
Okay.
Chris,
Oh, you're talking about Chris with the
I don't
brown
know. I don't know. He did LT1,
brown,
LT1 fast. or
Trans
something.
Am, I think. What was that guy's
I
name?
don't remember his last name. He had water injection.
Water
on it.
injection deal.
Oh.
Yeah, he had a nitrous and.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
There was,
so-
there was a small group of new cars that came out, and so anyway, you run into these guys, and what goes on?
Oh, well, I didn't even know that. I was like, man, I was
Yeah.
scared to race on the street. You know, I was like, y'all were doing what?
Yeah.
Racing where?
Yeah.
Man, I don't want to say where we were racing because
Yeah.
we still go over there.
Yeah, because they race in some crazy spots sometimes.
Yeah.
But,
But he comes home and he tells me about. He's like, yeah, I went and I saw this. I met these people, or there's these guys that race, but
Yeah.
so we have to go out next weekend. So we go out the next weekend, and our friend Destry, I don't know if y'all know Destry. Destry is,
the name sounds familiar.
He used to have an altered roadster. He raced at Little River
And
called
it-
Pure
yeah.
Adrenaline. It was really,
the name
really
sounds
fast.
familiar.
Like,
Sounds
Or
familiar,
he knew,
man.
but he was.
he lived down the
name
street from
sounds
Butch Lake,
familiar.
actually,
Oh, okay.
like a few houses
That
down.
name sounds familiar. Goddamn, it sounds familiar.
But yeah, he said, you gotta bring the truck up there. They have a top 10 list and
Yeah.
all this. I was like, oh.
So what year was this?
This was,
Was this
recently.
recently?
It's about 6 or
6
7
years
years
ago.
ago.
Okay, okay.
Well, I don't know. I was there like
Yeah, that makes
further
sense.
back, but it's been around. That they didn't stop.
I
It
think
it
they
just
started.
progressed.
they were doing it
2000,
before I
Yeah.
ever knew about it, and then you know, not too long, but
Maybe no wait, I can't remember when they were incepted or
Right.
whatever the word is for
Right.
it. I think Chris said it was 2008.
Yeah, because I got rid of my car somewhere around there to my brother, but I took it out there, and because I had just called.
Did they actually hit it like on the 183 up there on the upper deck?
Yeah, that's where there's.
That's
Yeah,
where
yeah,
Yeah.
That just started. It was real early on, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not into
Well,
this
so
anymore.
6 or 7 years
Yeah.
ago, they were real standoffish,
They
kind of.
improved it.
Well, actually,
Oh,
no, they were pretty welcoming because they had never seen this truck before. But
Right.
yeah, they were very nice, and we were kind of the elders, I guess
Yeah,
you
yeah,
could
yeah.
say, of the group. But
We're still the
A,
oldest.
the good generation.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
anyways, yeah. So that's how we got into ATX Dig. Once we went one weekend, we
Yeah.
were there. You know, every time
Over and over and over.
Yeah, it
So
was
you,
fun.
how long have you had that truck?
it's 1998.
So 98. Okay, so you've been running it, improving it.
Yeah,
Since
well, I
then.
drove it for like it was her mom's truck
Nah.
actually.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It had a 305 in it, and then when that turned into a steam machine, I just had to put like a gallon of water in it to get to work in the morning, and a gallon to come home.
That's fun.
I was like, well.
Head gasket's going out.
Then I got a crate engine 350 HO and put in there, and
Mhm.
it was like, that's where it kind of started. That was like the Best Buy days.
Yeah.
Uh,
I met you at Little River. I think it was Chris's first Sunday
Event.
event, and we're all hanging out there, and there's nothing but lightweight cars, and then here comes, you know, box, you know, like,
Yeah,
how's he gonna fare with all these fast cars? And
Yeah.
so we're talking. First time Tommy Mars is standing there, you know, he's like, damn, I need to get into this. So he goes up to the line and he starts checking you guys out. You get to the line, man, that truck goes a little bit up in the air, and all of a sudden, I know you hit the button. Cause that truck just went bam, and it was gone. I'm like, oh goddamn, that truck is really quick. And so I always kept an eye out on that truck every time I would see it in videos or at Little River or wherever I would see it. I'm like, man, that dude, he's street rolling wherever he can, you know. And that's why I really admired that seeing that truck, because
Yeah.
you could be next to a twin turbo Mustang or something, but you're there, man. You're gonna do it. You know what I mean? And then I see your car. Well, recently your little Falcon, and like I said, I got that Falcon, but I was really on the little Falcon because it's low. You mini tubbed it, and that little sucker just moves. Right? So what's the current power plant that you have in yours right now in your truck?
496
496. Okay. Spray turbo. What do you got?
nitrous.
Nitrous
Yeah.
setup. And what do you run in there?
It's a little 388
Okay.
turbo.
Turbo car. And then prior you had a
You still got
Mercury.
it. You still got the.
I still got it.
you
It's
the
coming
Comet?
back out. I
Yeah.
got a 65 Comet that blown them.
Yeah,
was
what
crazy.
Big block
inside.
Ford.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
a 521 blown
Yeah.
alcohol.
Yeah. I seen it at your
Yeah,
event.
that's
That's
I mean,
a-
he's had it a long time, you know.
It's
Yeah.
a big winning car. It's won a lot of events.
That was nice.
Yeah.
I loved hearing it, man. When he was
Yeah.
going
Yeah,
on.
just expensive to fix them big motors when they break.
Yeah. Yeah, we were having a conversation about,
Yeah.
you know, they're like,
Yeah.
don't go get a Cleveland. I'm like, why? And I looked up just the price on an intake, $600-700. I'm
Well,
like,
you
what
should
in
have
the
called me.
world?
I've got a few of
No,
them.
I know, but I was just kind of like, versus a Windsor intake or something. It's like
Yeah.
3 times
I've
the
got some of
price.
them too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably got a ton of.
Oh, I know. This
Yeah.
is the Ford guy. I should just walk away now. Right now, grab it.
So when let's kind of go and just jump back again,
Yeah.
right? So 2000ish, you guys are doing I guess maybe late 2000s. Dig. What do you got going on at this time?
I was having kids,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and my cars are sitting in the
Performance
yard for
kids.
about 7 years. I gave up
There you go. Okay,
from
that's-
about 99 to
of
2005 or
course.
6.
So 2005, because Cause you came out. I think that's probably about when I probably known you probably since maybe 2000. I mean, cause you've always been out there.
Back in the
probably even maybe mid 90s.
in the mid 90s,
Yeah,
I had a
mid-90s.
black 65 Comet, just like
Oh,
my
okay,
white
yeah,
one.
that's what you
That I used to
go
take down there. Yeah, it's
Street
street
nights.
Yeah.
Street nights. Okay, that's
Didn't you have a
that's the
yellow?
car.
Yeah, and I had a yellow street car too. I had
Yeah.
a little.
Well, I remember the
289
black
car.
one because that's the one. Because we talk about that street
Yeah.
night, man. That was man. I used to love that street nights, man. It was just fun. It was the street cars. I mean,
Yeah.
and there'll be
For us, we wait
100
for everybody to come back home, and then we'd run again. Till
Yeah.
2 in the morning.
Well, yeah, it was one maybe 200 cars.
Yeah,
and,
a lot.
and it's twice a month.
Like Toro was saying, you go out there just to come back with the shoe polish.
Yeah, I had a little 65
Yeah.
Caliente
Caliente.
Comet, a yellow one with a 289 with some nitrous on it. It was fast.
Yeah, that was a fun time. So let's go back to let's say when you got back in, kids growing up, semi, right, 2005. What was that car you bought out, or what did you start playing with at that time?
When I got back into it, I had my white one sitting in a friend of mine's backyard. It still sat there. I bought a 69 Cougar, and I redid it, put a Windsor in it, and ran it with nitrous for a while. And then I built a turbo setup for it.
Gotcha.
And then I started building the white car, and then I had a friend of mine that kept bugging me to buy that Cougar, and he offered the right price, so
See you later.
it went. He still got it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And then you put some more into the Comet, right?
Yeah, well, I've changed it. We ran it on nitrous for a long time, and then we went to the blower.
And because you'd already had it kind of back tap with it, or you did kind
Yeah,
of slow.
it's a chassis car.
But yeah, but at that time was that the original plan? Because I thought somehow it was back tap, but it was always a chassis car.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
always
okay.
a chassis. I built it from the
Because it was always low, right? So I guess it makes sense, yeah. So that car's been around. You've had fun with it. A lot of races won. And then where did the Falcon come in?
The Falcon came in about 6 or 7 years ago. I did a job for a friend of mine.
Man, that car's come a long
And
way. So that's all I got.
He's like, man, I'm gonna pay you this, but will you take that Falcon on trade? I said, yeah. So I shoved it out in front of the shop, and it sat out there for about a year.
Is that right?
And one day I was like, you know what? I got enough stuff on the shelf. I'm just gonna throw that car together. So I pulled it in and cut it out and tubbed it and built the frame and stuff for it and put it together.
Put
And
it, get it rock and roll.
it's just been gradually
Yeah.
evolving since then.
Yeah, it's come a long way. Like I said, it's
Did you realize it was an advantage because it's a lighter car?
It's not light.
No.
It's just 3,400 and something pound car, So
Damn.
It
Yeah.
kind of
It
made
looks
its
like-
debut
It's still
on
got all the steel
television.
dash and everything in
On
it.
Street Outlaws.
Yeah.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
you guys went up to Memphis.
we went to Memphis
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you guys
raced
went to
JJ and
Memphis.
them.
Yeah, y'all guys went to Memphis. There's an episode out there with this car on it, and everybody probably know it. And all the
And we
locals
raced
here would
in-
know it.
We raced it at Little River at the JJ's thing the first time.
Yeah, I think that's where I saw it.
I lost my shoes.
Yeah.
I know, man. That's
You still owe me a pair.
Normal.
were they betted? Would you bet them?
Yeah.
These
Or did you
fools
lose
bet
them?
He bet them for her.
I didn't realize that until the episode aired, but a year later.
Be like, you
But-
got to give your shoes up. Sorry.
JJ, they like to race for people's shoes.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
they do,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, if you go into their little hangout,
Mhm.
they've got shoes all up on the countertop. Oh, there's so and so shoes,
Yeah.
What's so funny about that event? Because that was a big event there at Little River Lake. But man, they had their own little clique. Man, they had their people doing whatever they had with their cars, and they had people betting. Like they had, it's almost
That's
like they had their own little.
It's a planned out
I'm
deal.
telling you, man.
It's working. So we ought to figure out how they do it and just copy it
I
because it
don't
brought
know,
in
man. They
so much
What do you
people.
mean?
I mean, what I was talking about, that they had people like, and they were like young kids. They're betting like
They're
20,
betting,
50,
yeah.
50.
Oh, yeah,
So they
they
had
are
people
some
just like betting
betting
everything. And it
fools.
didn't
That's
matter
betting.
who was racing. They were
We
betting.
got plenty of money to be betting.
Yeah,
So when we
they were
went
throwing a
to
lot of money down.
Memphis, it was like that, but times
Times-
12.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They-
It ain't no
and-
$50.
And
We're
they
talking
were
about
like, no,
couple
I
grand.
mean like, oh, this is your team. You need to bet, and
Oh.
I mean like
instigating.
pressing people hard
Instigating it, yeah.
to
Well,
They
that's
want to
that-
make money.
that's
Yeah,
their
Hustle.
that's their thing,
yeah, that's
right?
their MO.
That's
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Hustlers.
but it was fun. So
It was fun.
That's what puts him on the TV show. That's what's different
That's
about
right.
him and everybody else.
It's
Yeah,
his
well, we had a
personality.
blast down there. It was
We
a fun
did,
place.
It was the best.
They're cool.
yeah.
We got in there. He said, man, if y'all need anything at all,
Yeah.
go in there and tell them it's yours. He said, but once we get out to the thing and we start filming, we're enemies. We don't
Yeah.
know each other.
Gotcha.
You know, we
They
put
were
up.
very. I'm sorry. They were very.
hospitality.
Yes,
like in
hospital.
professional and
Hospital.
We pulled up there at like 8:30 in the morning. We worked all day Thursday. We were supposed to be there Saturday. They called us and said, "Hey, it's going to rain. Y'all need to come early, a day early." So we left. So I worked all day Thursday. We left at like 8:30 at night, Thursday night after work. And we got there at 8:30 or 9 o'clock Friday morning. And we pulled up and we were like the only ones in the parking lot. And well, there was a trailer or something over there. And
No.
Barefoot Ronnie was pushing his car in the trailer. And I said, "Hey,
Yeah.
what are you doing?" He goes, "Well, we're putting it in the trailer. It's got a blow head gasket." I said, "Well, why don't you fix it?" And he goes, I don't know how to do it. And I said, "Well, shit, I'll do it for you." So they filmed it. They filmed the whole thing. They didn't put it on there. They filmed me taking his car apart and putting head gaskets on it. You know, it has these big Rare Morrison heads and stuff on it, you know, experimental stuff. And,
Yeah, of course.
that was a crazy deal. It was like a group of people just sitting around watching.
It's like there's no way in the middle of a parking lot I would take an engine like that apart. You know, in the middle of a.
Well, like I
Austin
said,
did it.
Got it back
In Austin,
together.
you're gonna see stuff.
And
He
went up there.
raced his race and won it. It was 22 or 3,200 bucks, whatever they bet. He won it, you know. So they were
They
good.
had a big
That
old
was
stack
good.
of cash too.
Yeah, that was thanks to Chris Sievert. Chris
Yeah.
Sievert is the one who
Yeah, put us in
invited
there.
us.
Yes,
to
I was
that.
gonna ask you. Yeah, how did y'all roll up there?
So-
What opened up? the
Well,
opportunity?
Chris did it, and he gave us he called us the Texas Dozen.
right, yep.
And,
Those are representing the Texas guys, right? So, yeah.
And he picked a bunch of us, handpicked us, and told us let's go down there and do it. They were looking for big tire cars, what they wanted.
Yeah.
And I had a big tire on that Falcon back then, so we went and played around, you know.
My
I mean,
shoes.
it's all fun. I mean,
Well, we weren't ready for what they were going to do, the game they were playing, but
yeah.
I got them back.
Oh, yeah,
We were the
that's right.
third race against Mallory, that little purple.
Oh, man,
Chevy
that
too.
chick, the young girl.
Yeah, he did some jiving on pulling us in, and she jumped, and I took off and chased her. Well, she
Chased
got me,
Yeah.
but I had to race her dad the 10th race.
He's the one that had the truck running.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kid, I got it.
Yeah.
I sat on him. Oh, they were so mad.
Oh, did you?
They were
Did
so
he jump?
mad.
Yeah, they
He-
played the
Yeah, he
game.
jumped. And I went down to shake his hand and tell him good race, and he cussed me and told me I was sorry, whatever, and I didn't have nothing worth nothing, and you know they've been trying
that
to
a
buy
show?
my car. No,
Was that a show? That was.
they they had been talking about buying my car. He wanted to buy my car for his dad for a long time. He kept
Is that
begging me,
right?
yeah. I was like, no, it ain't for sale. It ain't. Well, I love that car. I said, well, it ain't for sale. But you know, as nice as he was, we were talking like us. He turned like flip flop,
Flipped
and
Yeah.
he didn't like to get beat. I said, well, you don't like to get beat at your own game.
Yeah. Yeah,
His
y'all-
son-
Hey, you should
As
have
soon
done
as-
that for my shoes.
As soon as it happened, we stopped. I turned the motor off on the starting line. Kevin's like, "Yeah, we just got there, you
Yeah.
know." And his son ran over there. He goes, "Run it back right now for 10,000." I said, "No, we just won that on TV. It's gonna be
Same thing. The Green Monster.
Yeah.
He outran JJ the boss in that truck. And
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh, yeah.
he went to run it back. He goes, run me back again. He goes, nope, not for
Yeah,
any
it's on
amount of money. He
TV.
goes, this is gonna be on TV.
Yeah.
I beat on heavy.
Corey.
Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah,
fun.
Corey.
Well, those guys, they got their thing, and everybody's got an opinion about somebody. You know, you got the
Yeah.
Oklahoma guys, you got the Memphis guys. Hey, they're all doing good things, but I was more of a real kind of a Memphis guy than the Oklahoma. Anyway,
Well, those cars are real deal cars.
Yeah,
they're
still
like
kind of street.
they're
not a
like
chassis
car.
car.
They're
Yeah.
not something some fabricator built.
Right.
It's like
Yep, yep.
like cars like he's got.
And
He got,
that's
you know,
what I
like-
said, is that they all started out where we are. It's just they were in the right place at the right
If you
time.
look, if you look
Right.
from back then to
Right.
now,
Yeah.
their cars have like
Everything. Like when we-
quadruple evolved.
Well, if you
Oh,
look
yeah.
up their income, it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
damn, the amount of money that they're making
Oh,
for
yeah.
the show.
They can have
No
2,
wonder
3
you
cars.
can have
Yeah.
a really nice
Right.
car.
Not
Yeah.
only one nice car, 2 or 3.
Two or
nice
three.
cars.
But even me, if I had that kind of income coming, I don't think I would want to put it into 3 cars, because then it becomes huge maintenance issue, and now you got to go to all these crazy events just to keep yourself in that show. And I think that's where one of these guys may have drawn the line and stepped out.
Well, a bunch of them
He's
did.
doing
I
his
think
own
they
thing.
kind of lost that. Anthony did.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Gullett's not with them no more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of them
Well,
guys.
that's their life though.
Yeah.
Those guys-
JJ's got a big
They-
crew.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's
it's-
got a lot
When
of
we went to
family.
Memphis over
Yeah,
there,
the more cars, the
So,
more
they
that's what I'm
they
thinking.
live at the racetrack.
Yeah.
At
Yeah,
that
they live right there in that
in
track,
the,
right.
In the middle, they
Mhm.
hell, they were over there cooking breakfast. You know, their whole family's over there.
Yeah.
That's where they stay.
Yeah,
you
it's a
know.
family.
Yeah, we got there and that blue Chevy too. They had it
Yeah.
on the lift. They had 2 dudes from Rossler come in there and put a
Trans.
transmission in their car while we were there.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, it's
Yeah.
big business. It's good.
It's
It'd
good.
be really cool if we were all in there, because
Well, I know. I mean,
everything just goes up to a different level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's up to each and one of us to draw the line as to how hard you want to go. But
Yeah.
but it gets fun. Car gets a lot faster.
I give them credit, right? It brought a different crowd to the racing world, but you know, and I said it before. You know, there's people in that crowd that watch the show that don't even own a car, right? They just love the
Well, yeah, they
the
love
drama,
the atmosphere.
and they
Yeah.
love the what they have, which is cool.
Comments
I dig
get
it.
ridiculous. On
I'll be right here to say it right here. Yeah, they did a lot for the sport, right? It made a different a view of the racing.
Yeah.
Brought a different crowd in, and that's cool. But
It's our Monday Night Football.
It's
They
easy
edit
when you
but-
have a street that is made
Yeah.
for you.
And they let you do
And
it.
they
yeah.
let you,
And they
block
edit it
off
for the people that are
takes
watching
out
the TV.
The element of
Yeah.
the cops,
Yeah.
like what we do
Well,
with
it's-
ATX.
They
did.
make it look like it's illegal, but it's
But it's
not.
not. I
Yeah.
know.
Oh, I'm
And
sure
then
they're
they- and then
laughing
they-
every time they see the
They
comments.
edit everything really
Come on,
well
man,
on there,
sure.
you know.
And,
So
and that one event when we went to Oklahoma with Thomas's truck, we went to that
Yeah.
first Quick 32, and dude, I thought we were like getting like government clearance. Like they take
Yeah.
your name, license,
Oh, yeah.
picture.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Most
holy
definitely.
shit, man.
oh yeah, they made you sign off on a stack
Yeah.
of papers.
Yeah.
He was 2 days from being 18, and he had to be 18 to get in there. I was like, nah, y'all told me
Yeah.
if I brought him, he's
Crew,
my
yeah.
pit crew.
Yeah, yeah.
It's my son.
Yeah.
They said, okay, we'll make this exception. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah, it was
so
funny because when we were going up there, Thomas had to give a list of his crew to like who I can't remember, the guy's name was Mark.
The
They had
Discovery.
Yeah, Discovery guy, and like they checked off like.
Yep.
Like,
was that
what's
guy?
their middle initial? Like,
Serious.
holy shit!
Yeah.
Damn.
It's like clearance.
Serious.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
Some-
serious.
Some racer was trying to like some. What's the guy from California? The black guy with the
Bodie.
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 He would try to get there, and like he knew where they were racing. I think at one time,
Go
and,
test or something.
and because they were talking all kind of, they fan out their cash, and he's like any
Yeah.
amount of money, and he was over there trying to get in there. They wouldn't let him in. I don't think, you know,
Is that right?
Oh,
Yeah,
when
'cause-
we were filming?
not when we were there,
Oh.
a different time, you know,
Yeah.
before. But that's how like sealed off they had it, you know.
Yeah, it's tight, man.
Oh yeah, they got secured. The cops
Dude.
come and block it off, and you
Yeah.
got to go check in at these tables.
Yeah,
and,
dude, it's like a whole. Because it was funny because when we got there, they like gave us like 2 different points to go meet, and that wasn't the final place. Like they didn't want us to know like this secret place.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Yeah, like
different.
go here, and then we met there. Like, okay, well now meet us here. And we're like, that's another 30 miles east. I'm like, oh shit. So anyway, it was a whole
Is that
thing.
just
You
what-
get in there, and there's like a security checkpoint. You can't go past it. I mean, it's.
So they assumed that somebody was already testing on that lane, and
So
so
that sounds like.
No, they just didn't want anybody
They
in
didn't
there
want
to
nobody
like
come
yeah.
to mess it up.
to destroy their image
But yeah,
of what
but-
they had going
But it
on.
was
You know,
they
it
have a
was-
cop. They have cops and ambulance. Of course, it's not. Yeah,
Yeah.
you said it. They the production of the editing. They make it
That's
like.
Discovery.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Discovery.
Discovery.
well, I guess for the show, all that works.
Yeah.
I mean, let it get complicated, whatever. That's
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
For us, you guys,
Yeah.
today, back then,
Street.
this is real street.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
real deal.
Real deal.
And if you lose, it's all on you or some kind of error you did, you know. But it's not going to be a track's fault. It's not going to be
Yeah, the
the
elements
street
still-
did it. It's you didn't tune for it or you didn't bring the right stuff.
Or turn
Maybe
the
you
nitrous
forgot that
on.
socket
Right.
you needed, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it great. It's grassroots, and what I was telling him, I said, you know why it works when these guys go and they do this top end thing at the track, and you see a lot more people just for that event, or more people wanting to go to. It's because it's grassroots and it is not predetermined. It doesn't have all these prerequisites that the track is requiring. If it was an event like sponsorship, the count, you guys just show up.
Yeah.
It could be you're running him for a handshake. It doesn't matter, but you're gonna do the pass, and everybody's gonna watch it. At the end of the day, you hang together, and we're doing it again next month. Yep. You know, and
Well, you know, back in the
great.
back in the old days, we always raced for cash. We never raced for free.
Right.
Nobody raced for free back
Yeah, I
then.
would say, yeah.
Nowadays, nobody races for cash. They
Yeah,
always
that's
just want to
because
race for
we're
free.
y'all racing for spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well,
you know, we
So,
always
yeah,
were
the
about the
top
money
list.
back when we were
of
younger.
course, yeah.
We were in to try
Well, I
and
mean,
make it.
the stuff wasn't cheap. I mean, it's still not cheap, but even back then, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you're making a buck to gain a buck, right? So I mean, yeah, we all did that, right?
Right now, it's more like for the prestige of being on the list or like.
So
Yeah.
let's kind of go like? Was there a list back then, or is this something that just started with,
No.
with the dig?
You know what though? My dad had a list of every car he ever beat.
No,
got it.
not that kind of.
You know about the nicks on the right on the
And
gutter.
he's got a spiral. He's got it wrote down the money that he took from them people and everything. You
You got a
know,
log.
he had a big old log full of stuff. And
Yeah.
You write down the person's name, their car,
Yeah.
what kind of motor they had, and how much money.
How much
he
money?
won.
It's not
And
the
that
kind of
and that
list
spiral
I
was
know
like
about,
front and back.
Yeah.
But
See, that's what I'm
For a
talking about.
long,
sure,
long
when Chris
time that
Calabrese
happened.
comes on, he'll
Yeah.
tell you like
Yeah,
the
well, that's-
evolution of the list.
Right.
Okay,
Or-
well that's
because that's a good story that.
yeah.
I did,
So
Or he's
I did
got-
the list for a while. I had the Falcon on there for a while.
Yeah.
I got it up to what, 3, I think. And Kevin was number 1 back then.
no shit.
Him and Jimmy were going back and forth for a long time.
I'm trying to find
And then
a
I
picture of
finally-
the trophy.
Dropped off there because we just initially went out there to test my car to try to get it right.
You got
We
on the
wasn't
list.
really trying to stay on the list, you know. And I
You
just didn't
coaxed
have
into
the
it.
I just didn't have the time to put into going out every weekend and
Of
doing
course,
it. You
yeah.
know, but
It's time consuming. It takes some
So-
takes time out of it.
So based on this top end race that just happened, and because like we still don't know how you guys structure it, because it takes time. You know, you get in there, you got to figure out how the race is, what's setting up, and then you finally realize, oh, okay, so we're gonna race for.
By the way, that was at the race at November. Was supposed to be on the 26th. It didn't get postponed because of rain, weather. It was rain. It
And the top
ended up being
end
on the Sunday,
Yeah.
right? The top end race.
So that race, what is
well, they
that
were
race?
going to have a
define?
top end race anyway
Oh,
after the
after that
Saturday
race.
thing.
That's right.
But the Saturday thing got all the way canceled, so they went ahead and had the Sunday thing because it cleared up
Gotcha,
good enough.
Gotcha,
So,
gotcha.
so what is that race? How does that race identify all y'all's previous racing? I mean, are y'all searching for the crown, the fastest top, the fastest? How long
We're
it's gonna
searching
be
for
on
that
top?
money.
Oh, okay, but it's not going to be who's on top for a little bit and then who's going to
No.
get kicked out.
Richie
Not the
Okay.
no prep stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah,
that
we're
was,
just looking
not
at that
working on
money.
that.
Like that was 17 cars, so it was like $3,400 or whatever
Yeah.
for a no prep that you race for 3 or 4 hours.
what was the
and you-
pot? 34.
3,400, I think is what it'll be.
Kevin races on the street.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean.
Well,
he,
He's
he's been to the track a few times,
They
but
won't
every,
be at the track.
Yeah.
he doesn't have a
Sure,
roll
but
cage in his truck. You know,
we
he don't
all-
want. He don't
they
want to. He don't want to do that.
Yeah,
to it.
that's yeah. I understand it. So if you go, yeah, they,
And
they
it's
probably
too
don't like
fast.
you going there. Oh,
Well, no.
yeah,
As soon as he pulls in, they go.
yeah, go
Get
yeah,
out of here.
Yeah. I know that. I know that. Yeah. I think I actually heard that
This
before
is-
too. I said
this
about
is
your
the
truck.
trophy.
It's too fast.
So
Yeah.
You can't you sanction right. You got to have a roll cage, helmet,
that's
and all
the
that crap.
number one trophy.
Dry
Well, he
shaft
wears a
loop.
helmet. No, got drive shaft loop, all that stuff.
But
He
just
just
need a
don't
roll
want to put a
cage.
cage. He wants to be street. You
I hear
know.
you. I hear you.
Yeah.
I dig
You
it.
drive around with a roll cage in your truck. Everybody goes, "Oh, it's a race truck."
Yeah,
around here,"
that's
you
already.
know.
It's a dead giveaway. Well,
Well,
also,
we used to drive it to. We go to Top
yeah.
Notch. We go out to eat, and it's not gutted. It's got
Power windows.
Power
power
windows,
windows.
everything.
Yeah, it's
Bench
fun.
seat or
Bench seat.
Bench
oh,
seat.
that's nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, see, that's what I
Yeah,
like
that's
power
to see.
brakes.
that's the
Power
true street,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah, that's what Ray likes to always talk about is that he, you know,
Mhm.
it wasn't so much that it's the track racing deal. It's the fact that if you can take a really nice car, put something in it, and be real fast, you know, win some money, whatever,
and be competitive.
and be competitive. I mean, that's what's fun.
Well, I used to like to go to that
Yeah.
the San Antonio raceway. Used to have about probably when he wasn't racing. It was the midnight drags,
Mm.
Oh yeah, midnight drags. Yeah.
and I would drive from here over there
Yeah.
on my ET streets
Yeah.
with my bottle, my tools, my stuff,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and race over there all night, and we'd come back.
Hopefully nothing broke. You
Yeah.
know.
Hopefully nothing.
Yeah.
broke, Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That-
it didn't. I mean,
We
That's funny.
stopped. We stopped doing that
Oh, yeah.
because we almost got taken out one night. He and I.
Coming
Almost
home.
had to call
Seriously,
an
like
Uber.
by a drunk
By a
driver.
drunk driver.
Oh, really?
Oh,
No, yeah.
snaps.
And so
Oh.
we were like, you know what?
That's a common theme.
Maybe
I know.
we shouldn't
Well-
be in the same vehicle.
That's
I mean, we have a child. We had a child
Yeah.
back then, and so we were like, so we kind of stayed. That's really
That's always been a
That's why
common
we
theme in the street racing, anyways.
Yeah.
Because we always go out late, like from 11 to 4.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drunk drivers.
I know.
It's dangerous. Yeah.
I was always because you know when these guys were young, 3 kids. I would always tell them, I said, you know, we're not doing the overpass right now. There's no telling who's gonna fly by us, you know, doing over 100 and something, because that's what the road racing was doing for the longest. So
Yeah.
if it always came down to 1 or 2 in the morning or something like that, I would make sure I was
Yeah.
on, because you never knew
yeah. When somebody
what
was gonna fly
Corvette,
past.
what
Mhm.
you know, what
Well,
300Z or whatever was
Yeah.
gonna because you
We
can see
did
them
that
on
too
TV.
for a while.
That's
The
why I
road
say,
race.
but you know, all the way back into the 80s, you know, in
Yeah.
the 80s, my dad, we were out at Decker Lane.
Yeah.
This guy came across there with a flat,
Oh yeah.
stopped right on the start line. He said, "Y'all pick up my car and change the tire." They said, "No." One of these crazy guys got this car, drove it down there, drove it in the ditch. That guy started walking down there. He cussed us, walked down there, right down the middle of the road, and then he walked over to his car and got in it, spun it out of the ditch, and came back and hit 11 cars.
11
And my
cars.
dad's just one of them.
Yeah.
And they caught that guy at Decker and 290, and
He was
need
drunk.
to say he was.
They had to talk to him.
Yeah, well, they came and got my dad, I guess for attempted murder or something, because he stayed to get the insurance for his
Yeah.
car, you know,
Yeah.
and so that was a big thing back then, you know. They beat that guy to a
Beat the
pulp.
crap up with him, oh man.
And then
Man, don't
it
mess with
ended
cars,
up
man.
being, it was a deserved ass whipping is what they ended up saying at the
Yeah.
end, but
There was one time when we were
Right.
on Palmer. You know, everybody used to race on at Barton Springs downtown, hang out really. We were hanging out there, man, and it happened twice. Once, some guy just lost control and went into the parking lot. Luckily, he didn't hit anybody. Then the second time, there was somebody coming from Lamar, coming around that little turn next to the lake, the river. He's just coming real slow, and we're like, what is kind of like some European car, and the thing is just, I mean, it's already limping, and sees cars, floors it even faster,
Oh boy.
rolls into the parking lot. The car actually lands back on his tire, he turns it back on, and he drive off, and we're like, what the hell just happened here? Yeah, he did it. He took off back to the same spot he came from, and we're like, man, you don't want to hang out here anymore later than at least 12:30 or something.
Yeah,
'cause
that's
that's when
when
weirdos come out, you know.
after 2 o'clock, all the
Yeah.
drunks are out. They're out
Yeah.
leaving the bars,
So-
you know.
Right.
So,
That's a good point.
y'all could tell your little story about, well, don't tell our spot, but, Kevin and Richie and
Well,
Dylan was there too.
Yeah, that's what
Got
we're talking
ran
about.
Oh,
over.
yeah, that's
that-
how my knees got
Well,
messed up.
we can let's kind of
Yeah.
let's roll into it because I mean,
Yeah.
there was even
The side
including
effects of
including
being
myself.
out there.
I was like, "Where's Richard?" I didn't see her for a long time because
Yeah.
you know, and then it was later on before I had their story. So, I mean, if you want to share it, by all means, because like I said, people might want to know, people might not know,
What?
right? So, I mean, I know that you had some surgery, and I don't know if anybody had really got
This
made
Yeah,
Just
we
recent.
well, that was 9-10 months ago.
10 months ago. Okay.
But we had went to a spot that we liked to test at. We were going to test, and we couldn't test there, so we ended up getting ran off, and we went to this other spot out in the middle of nowhere, and we parked in their driveway, side by side, and we were standing in between the trailers. We were getting ready to unload. We were waiting for some other people to get there,
Uh-huh.
and lo and behold, here comes a car. Man, we're looking at it, and you can tell how fast
It
it's
was
going.
making
It
some
keeps
speed,
going
huh?
faster and faster, and then finally I said, "Man, this dude ain't gonna make it because it's a corner."
There's a big-
And I said, "Run!" And we all took off running. Well, that car hit us going well over probably 100. I mean,
So, I mean, did it
Parked.
hit the
You
trailer
guys
or the
were
car, or did it
It
hit
hit-
the vehicle?
Yeah.
he ran into Kevin's trailer,
Right in-
and it broke all the straps on his truck, and his truck twisted sideways on the trailer. And we were running. They made it out. I was the last one. It hit me, knocked me down, and then
Came
his
over.
truck ended up on top of my car, and it moved my truck and trailer like 20 feet back. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
his trailer turned sideways like that and pushed mine all the way back.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we
I mean,
all
that
ran
could've-
around there,
Uh-huh.
and Kevin told that guy, "What the hell's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Yeah, you got out
And he
of
got
the
out and
car.
goes, "What happened?" You know.
Yeah, that's the
Wet
worst
pants.
thing to hear.
Yeah.
What happened?
And
Yeah.
he was
I mean, his
smiling.
car is like smashed to the windshield. I mean, it's
They took him off, and I asked, was he drunk or whatever? They said, well, he's under investigation right now. I think he went to go take his blood or something at the
Yeah,
hospital.
yeah.
They say he wasn't drunk, but
Well, what the
I don't
hell was
know.
he on?
you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
smell
Yeah.
you could smell the weed in his car.
Oh, yeah.
I
there
mean,
you
real
go.
bad.
He was intoxicated, but it was something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it could have been a lot
I
worse.
think he fell asleep. At
we
the
could be
wheel.
dead.
Yeah.
He didn't
If we
even
had
try to
We would have just
swerve
stayed there
or
chilling
nothing.
like we were and hadn't paid attention.
Yeah.
Thought-
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could have been a lot worse. So
We could all be
good
dead.
thing y'all guys,
Yeah.
made out okay. And did you get out? Did you
Oh yeah, I was out.
first?
He was ahead of me.
Yeah, he's young.
It didn't
Yeah.
slow us down.
Yeah, well,
It didn't.
that's great because it could have been worse. But I mean, ultimately, good thing. The cars and the trailer, all that got fixed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
y'all
pretty
guys,
much.
yeah,
Well,
so
we're not.
We
it's
kind of fixed him our way.
yeah. So I mean, but like I said,
And then-
it's better than when you. I guess you had some
I had a double knee replacement.
Double
I had
knee.
both my knees replaced.
Man, and that's
Yeah.
Austin. Since Austin is growing so much, you've got all kinds of walks of life just moving out here. For whatever reason, whether it's California or whether it's Arizona, or wherever the hell they're coming from, quadrupling this town every 6-8
I
months,
mean,
right?
they're moving out there towards where Liberty
Well,
Hill
they
is.
say 8 a day move to Liberty Hill.
Yeah,
Wow,
I
that's
believe
crazy.
it.
Well, the other thing is that's going on is you also got a bunch of, I don't know, man. This new, and we talk about it all the time. That's the event. What is it called, Josh? Remind me. This
Takeovers.
takeovers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
take
good.
it
This
down.
is this retarded crap where they're
Yes.
doing burnouts with people hanging off the door
Yeah.
because it got picked up. They were doing this in other countries or whatever. Just they're
That's-
getting ran over, and then it ruins it for all
everybody.
who.
Well, yeah, they're
who's into
putting that on
cars.
drag racers, and that's not part of drag racing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
why
I
we
mean,
are
that's
so secretive.
right.
about
You have
what we
to
do.
exactly
You have
because
to.
you
Well,
don't
if
want
we're
these guys
not,
to show up.
those people know how to find
Yeah.
where we're going if you're
No,
not real secretive with it,
Yeah.
and they'll come and try to burn your spot up. Or,
Oh,
you know,
man. See,
Well,
that's
if
just
they
ruined.
find
Just,
out where you're hanging
just
out.
like every other space.
And you've got security.
Yeah.
You've got it. Safe.
I'm security.
Relative to
I am.
there you go. You just take
I'm
you just
one
take
of
one of
the
those guys
spotters.
to show up and ruins it for everybody, right? And then you're like, oh, okay, now where do we go?
Yeah, you got to keep
well, that's
it
how we
looking.
make it so good. It's
Really-
we've got top-notch security team.
Yeah.
You know,
There you
and,
go.
and they got it organized.
Well, that's good. That's what it
Yeah.
takes. I mean, that's what it's
Yeah,
successful.
we're trying to be safe. We're not
Yeah.
trying to be idiots like some of these people.
And
you know.
and you mentioned it about whatever, whether it be Williamson County, Travis County, whatever, the law enforcement, as long as you're not endangering like people
Yeah, they'll volunteer
indirectly,
to-
they're gonna be
to-
cool with you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the ones that do the shit that, and like I
They
said,
know the difference. The
Yeah.
police, they
Yeah.
do.
They can
Uh,
tell
we
when you
get
have something
called-
organized.
right,
They
right.
see trailer cars, yeah, leave those guys alone.
There
They
you
see
go.
roll racer
All
guys,
the
Yeah.
time.
go after those guys.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
they-
mean, we have some of them races where there's 15 or 20 enclosed trailers. They know what's going on.
Oh, exactly.
They're not stupid.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. So as long as you're not doing nothing stupid and keep it low key, keep all the, as you said, the squirrels and all
Yeah.
the non people, the racers guys, and keep them out of the scene.
Well, loose
and you're
lips
good.
sink
Loose-
ships.
There you go. The snitches. The snitches.
Well, and that's what you got to watch out for.
Yeah.
And the way they do
keep
it
a
is
close
we
circle
move.
too.
Well, we have they text everybody and say, hey, go
Invite
here.
only.
It's invite only.
Invite
And
only, yeah.
some of them people are smart and can try to follow you, but
Yeah.
most people are
No,
pretty
it's
good about eluding.
Big mouths.
Keep it-
that-
keep
Yeah,
it low
well,
key,
that
yeah.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big
That
mouth.
top end, that's the top end thing that's being organized and taken to the track. It's almost the same thing and it works really well, but it needs
It's
to catch
not the
on.
same
It's
thing.
not the same, but it needs to catch on.
It's
You know,
not.
it's still safer.
It's fun. It's
It's
still the track, but it kind of
Yeah.
simulates the street at the
Yeah.
track.
But it's
Yeah.
not
safe.
the same.
But
It's safe. But that's the only place you're gonna get a real street because it was a street.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's old Highway
At one point,
95 there, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, that used to be the main highway.
that used to be
Yeah, that
Highway
may
95.
be, but
Well-
y'all, that's not like,
Well, when you start looking at the concrete path, that's different. But when you do a top end race, that's asphalt. Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost.
Well,
as simple.
not a lot of people knows, but Little River didn't used to go this way.
Yeah.
They used to race towards the river.
Back in the 50s
Oh,
or
did they?
60s,
Yeah.
yeah. That was way early on, yeah. That's why the turn was. You had to turn either way, so I've heard that too. But I haven't seen. I've been looking for like pictures for like earlier. of
All
when
the
it
ones
started.
that the guy said.
They're all original. They're
the,
from like the
original guy
the
from
Riverside.
I
The
bet
guy
you.
was there
I
in-
bet you Kenneth probably has some. I bet you Slim has some of the.
Well,
early pictures.
I got the photos from the original, from like 59, 60. The guy who actually was the
photographer.
the
Starter?
The starter. Oh man.
Yeah, they used to jump up and down with a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know where the house is now?
Yeah.
There used to be a stand at
Pedestal.
first, and then they turned it into a little house, and then knocked that one down. And then they turned it into what we see today. But that man that used to stand there and do the flagging, he sent some photos to this one place, and anyway, he got a hold of me, right? And I said, I'm gonna be at the Round Rock show. And he goes, you are? I said, I need to go talk to you. And I said, okay. So he meets me up. The guy is like 80 something years old. He's sport coat. He's wearing his shoes. And I'm like, man, am I dead? Because he's dressed up, man, like I died or something. I'm like, anyway, I had a real great conversation with him. And he sent me the photos and all that stuff. And even back then, they were running, the same way we've been doing it today.
Yeah.
It was just different, but
They used to line up. My dad said I've seen a picture. One I don't remember where I saw that picture, but they used to line the cars up like that.
yeah.
And,
mhm.
Oh, along
and
the-
they'd throw a blanket out in front of the car and sit on the blanket and watch
Yep.
the cars race by.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
Are
yeah.
you dumb? But
Yeah.
you know, the cars only ran like 13s back then. Too, you
Yeah.
know, so it was like
One of the guys from South Austin.
He has to drive her up to the dang track like that.
Yeah, there was two brothers from South Austin, Oak Hill, and they used to go over there and race with Kenneth's dad,
Slim.
and they'd go out there, and it's just like what you guys are doing, you know, betting some money, and you know, but back then they came with a little surprise 283, but it's really a 331, and it's got a rotor cam, and you know, it's a really fixed up car. And so, you know, I see the photos, and yeah, sure enough, man, it's basically flashlight. They're going down, it's trees and nothing but cars all the way. And I'm like, man, these guys roll, they're gonna hit. And Butch Lake says, or was it Trey Ragsdale, his
It might have
dad?
been Trey.
Anyway, so we're talking right, and he says, oh yeah, he goes, well, they used to have that cable there. There was this one instance where, and I guess you ought to go back to the podcast. He goes, this guy got decapitated right from
Yeah.
the dragster, off the dragster. You know, the dragster was kind of lifted up, you know, the rail.
yeah.
Boom, and just lift. I mean, right there in front of everybody. So that's how serious Little River used to be back in the day when they ran cable and guys used to park on
They
the
say
side.
Slim, he ran off into the river. Some girl walked out in the track and he like
Turned
his car off and
Wow.
he rode it off into the river or something.
Yeah, there's a few stories. I mean, you guys
Yeah.
probably heard it too, right? That
To a guy, a military guy that was in a Mustang.
yeah, that was
Hit the
about 8
pole.
years ago.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
Oh,
very
that
long
guy.
He
ago.
didn't hit a pole.
Yeah,
He
he,
hit a pole,
he hit a
but
tree.
his
He hit a
brother
tree.
was
It was a
there,
big
and he
old
had to
pecan
keep
tree,
His
yeah.
brother back from.
He split that car in
See.
half.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a red Mustang. I remember that.
No, it
Yeah.
was blue.
Was it blue? Oh, I thought it was.
I don't know. You couldn't tell.
I thought it
It
was
was
red,
just so
yeah.
much.
I wasn't there. I
That
just
was
seen
it.
a picture of
It was a Friday night too. It was a Friday night.
They said
So,
it was pretty
Yeah.
ruthless. The guys
yeah.
had was still in his helmet and out there and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. There was a picture going around.
Yeah.
There was a helmet
Yeah,
over
that
here.
Somebody,
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So Little River's got a lot of history, but from from the perspective of, let's kind of go back to what we're talking about. From the perspective of what do you prefer? Do you prefer the top end or do you prefer the street track? I guess you track street.
Oh man, I like all
Everything,
of it. But,
right?
I like track racing. I mean, I've always done street racing.
Of course.
I'm never gonna stop. But
Right.
I like the no prep, like the top end stuff.
Okay.
But we really like to go. I like to radio race. I like to do a lot of stuff.
Everything, right? So I mean, it's just a question that, for us, right? Because everybody's got their niche.
multiple things.
Yeah, everybody got their niche.
Yeah.
And
So you run nitrous and turbo. You've done it.
No,
both.
No,
I've
he's
done
strictly
both.
turbo
I
now.
ran nitrous
yeah,
from '83 to about 3 or
5
4
years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then I switched over to the blower on my white car, and the Falcon I had nitrous on it. We
Okay.
Put
switched
turbo
over
on
to
there
the turbo
now,
on
yeah.
it.
Okay. So you recently new to the turbo, or?
Yeah. Well, I had a turbo on my Cougar back in 2009 or 10 or whatever it was, but I didn't really get serious into that. That was a blow through,
A carburetor
This
blow
one
through.
here is
Right?
fuel injected, better stuff.
How do you compare? What's your thoughts on nitrous to the turbo? What do you prefer?
Well, now I prefer turbo.
Turbo. Okay. Well,
Well,
Simple
why
question.
I switched over to the blower on the white car is that's back when the nitrous plant blew up and you couldn't get no nitrous.
yeah.
And I was like, man,
There was a shortage.
can't do this without no nitrous, So we went ahead and put a blower on there.
What was the deal, Buck, on that nitrous?
So there was I can't remember. There was a plant that exploded in Florida
They were
Because-
making all the nitrous from the other plant for the hospitals and stuff.
Yeah, the
For
grade,
priority.
Hospital grade, yeah.
Yeah, so there was a big old plant thing, and it literally spiked up the prices of nitrous.
Wasn't
and
somebody
shortage.
from South Texas going to Mexico and getting Mexican nitrous?
Hell,
Regular medical grade, but they were buying it and bringing it. Hey, you got
I didn't know there was a Mexican grade nitrous.
come from Mexico.
Don't breathe in nitrogen.
Yeah, that,
You only had some.
That one.
They probably cut it with agave or something, right?
hey, sprinkle some little white stuff on there, like some little.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a thing. It was a thing, but it was short lived. I mean, it probably was like about a year, maybe 18 months
Yeah.
that it started having some effect. Because as soon as that news came out, it was probably about 4 or 5 months later. Then you started seeing it come roll down this way, and it was nationwide, but
Yeah.
it was about 18 months, and then it was back to normal.
Yeah,
But
leveled out.
so you went to Supercharger, got that
on
done.
that car. And
Yeah.
then the Falcon, we had it on nitrous for a while. We went out to one of the New Year's things,
Mm-hmm.
and it was cold.
Oh, you can't probably
And I
get no
was having
bottle
some-
pressure.
Oh, it was having all kind of problems. The solenoid stuck, and bent the butterfly, all kind of stuff, just trying to start it. E85 is hard to start on carburetor car,
Yeah,
when it's
that's
cold.
right. It's cold nature. Yeah.
So,
It's a cold.
but his
benzene.
truck's the only one that's not like that. His truck will start even when it's cold.
Is that right? Well, that's good.
But so after that race, I told him, I said, "That's it. We're going turbo." So I
Yeah.
parked it for a while, and we went and bought all stuff and did turbo stuff.
So your EFI. Now, the other thing that I'll just kind of add to you know, a good thing about the turbo and E85, you don't have to do a lot of maintenance. You don't have to heat your bottle up. You don't have to change your
Nope.
plugs. You don't have
Yeah.
to, you know, do all this
Matter
other
of fact,
stuff.
I probably should have changed
Yeah.
the plugs a couple of times by now, but we just kind of let them roll because
Yeah,
they don't do nothing to them.
Yeah,
Makes
so-
it well worth it, man.
Yeah, and it's street friendly, I guess, right? So I
Yeah.
mean, that's
I mean, nitrous, we would go through, man, I probably got 200 sets of plugs.
I hear you.
We
Yeah.
used to go a bunch of them.
Yep, and like I said, you ain't got to worry about bottle pressure. You ain't got to worry about warming your bottle up. In between rounds, it's like,
Well,
Okay,
the only
we're
thing
good.
we got to worry about nowadays is I went to an intercooler with a water box, so
oh, you
we
got to
put ice in there.
them. Yeah, yeah.
But man, it makes a world of difference.
See,
on
we
how-
So even you're in E85, you're still running a
yeah, well, you're trying to get the intake air
as
temp
cold
cool.
as possible. Yeah, you get a good cold charge.
So
mix
if you
power.
put ice in there and make a pass, and you get to the end and it's still 69 degrees
yeah, you're
intake
good.
temp,
Yeah,
you're good.
yeah.
Doesn't pull no time in.
Nitrous outlet, they had a little a ring that you could also put
Uh,
into
inner
the
spooler?
That's a spooler. Yeah, that helps you spool
and,
your.
and
Yeah.
that's apparently with the water, ice, and that little sucker. I mean, it's like
Yeah, it helps pull the turbo faster.
Yeah.
You know, get it up there faster, and it gives it a little power to it.
Yeah, you can put like a 50 shot, 100 something, whatever.
I don't want to do that because that's more stuff we got to do. You know,
yeah, more.
you got to fill
Yeah.
a bottle. You got to get it. You got to tune it.
That's true.
Diesel
Yeah.
guys use that
Yeah.
on their turbo
Do
to
that.
Yeah.
help it spool. 'cause
Yeah,
it
a lot of
spools
people-
so slow. You know?
Yeah, like if you're going up on the line, it's like, you know, people they just hit that nitrous and it spools it up faster. So, but yeah, you want it as maintenance free as possible. What you guys are doing, right?
Pretty much,
So
yeah.
You don't want to have a lot of.
The only maintenance
Bottle.
that gets done is by him on the computer.
Yeah,
He tunes it, does all the suspension stuff.
And how old
You
are
know.
you doing this already?
21.
You're 21.
you
So
go.
how long you been tuning already?
A couple of years.
Couple years?
Yeah.
Was it pretty hard getting into it?
Just get in and learn it, right? You
Just-
got to just dig into it and to learn it. That's the way you
Which
do it.
which EFI setup do you have? Do you guys run that?
You guys,
Holly.
Holly.
The Holly one, so it's
Everybody
pretty
got
easy
Holly,
to cut your teeth into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had Steve with the Kraken Camaro.
Mhm.
Steve Tyler.
He taught me a lot.
Okay.
He's the one that put the initial tune on it and helped me get all that
The
stuff
baseline
situated.
stuff, yeah.
And if we have an issue and he can't figure it out, we call him and he'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
So yeah, the Holly's it's just it's one of the most premier. I mean, it's not the you got some other ones out there that are competitive, but I like the Holly for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause it's intuitive. You don't have to do the interface is pretty nice. It's easy. Got all the ICS. Boom, there it's done. You can actually put a bass tune in, do something to the startup tune, and it's self-tuning, self-learning if you want to do closed loop stuff. But anyway, so and on top of that, right, I work for Holly, so
Oh,
hey, cheers.
Yeah.
how convenient.
So yeah, so yeah, so
Buddy, you want a podcast?
so you guys need anything? Boom,
Yeah.
get my number.
Well, I swear by them. I mean, and when I did it, everybody was telling me, "Oh, buy the cheap, what's them sensors called?
Low dollar. Or
Low
something?
dollar motorsport." I said,
Yeah.
"No, I'm gonna buy all Holly shit because I want this shit to work." So I bought all Holly sensors because I believe in
Right,
it.
yeah.
Doing it all right the first time.
Right.
Because I've done it wrong a bunch of times before.
Right. Yeah.
You always buy the cheap stuff and I blow it up or mess it up. I
Then
gotta buy the more
you're gonna
expensive.
double up and buy what you need the first
Yeah,
time. So
yeah.
I mean, I'll give it to you. Low dollar. They're scaling this like ours, but you look at the cost. You kind of get what you pay for. Certain things, right? They make good stuff, but Holly stuff. If you go, you won't go wrong. Basically,
Yeah.
you won't go wrong, right? So. Do you have a car? What's your name again? Dylan, right?
Dylan.
Okay, so just kind of throw it in the loop.
I got
But
a
so
question for you.
are you driver or are you just a tuner?
I do both.
You do both, right? I knew you have a car,
he's
right?
he's got a little car we're building
Okay,
right now. It's about to come
So,
out.
so you're in the new world.
You're the next gen.
Josh is going to be 19. You're in the new world with pretty much the same era of teenagers. How is it around your friends? So I'm going to ask you some direct questions. How is it around your friends? Is it catching on? would you like more of your friends to do what you do, or do you think that they just don't get
They're
it?
going in a different direction.
Yeah,
your
I'd love
generation.
my friends to get into it. They're not into it.
I think when he calls them and tells them, they say, "Oh, that's cool, but let me get back to my game."
Well,
You know,
Yeah, well, the game's cool. I mean, you got Forza, what is it, 5? I mean, you can literally build yourself a really nice car in that thing. And if you guys have not gotten into this freaking thing, you want to build your car in there, you're not going to get out of that game. You're going to
I
be
just
damn.
build it
you
for
know.
real. I don't got time to do
I know.
But
games.
it's fun. It's fun, and that's what these guys do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's their world today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you want to build like.
Well, like him,
build
I've got him. He don't
Yeah.
get on that hardly at all. We go work on his car. If I say,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're working on your car,"
he's on it.
he's
right?
Johnny on the spot, man.
I got you.
Or if
That's-
I'm gonna go work
Not
on my
everybody
car,
has that luxury though.
but
Not everybody. that's
if
what
I
mean.
say, "Hey, I'm just going to the shop, I got to do some work," he'd be like, "Well, I might just stay home right now," you know. But if I
Yeah.
say I'm gonna be on his car or mine,
He's gonna be right
he's
on
all
it.
over it. You
So
know?
that I mean,
He's
the
wanting to
generation that you see now, right? You see that, right? That they're panning away, like what we talked about.
What's lost? What's got them lost and not doing that little
Trade,
window
man.
you just saw?
Trade,
like,
the
this
trade,
is
the
fun.
trade.
They've never been
the
able to
trade's out of
ride.
school, man.
They never been able to ride in a car like
they
that.
don't have
Oh, yeah.
dads
It's like-
who are mechanics that have.
Oh yeah, the
car
first
cars.
time my dad brought that Mustang home, we got all the stuff on it.
All
And we
on it,
all
man.
got in it, and went for a ride. Shit, we were hooked.
Yep.
That was it.
You know, I got out, stopped racing for a while. I got into RC cars and planes and stuff.
Yeah,
And, you
yeah.
know, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, RC cars are
A
still
lot of
big.
fun to
Guys
build
today don't do
model,
that. They're
to
video
build the
games.
models.
It's just a
And,
video
uh,
game.
Yeah.
I was spending as much on that stuff as
Right.
what I was
the real
spending now on a
thing.
car.
Yeah.
On a
Right.
car, and you don't get to ride in it. So I was like, hell with that. You know, I can get back
So
to
maybe the key is that they don't. I mean, their parents aren't.
Well,
Like,
it's
you
hands-on
know.
mechanical. The hands-on mechanical is
Yeah.
Well,
is
and that's
going away.
that's where a lot of it lies. Is their parents didn't have nothing to do with the car or race
Right,
car, nothing,
yeah.
so they're not even into
they're
it.
not
you
gonna
know?
get
Yeah.
into it.
Do you
Like
know
some of his
one-
friends will say, "Hey, we're going to the track." They'll say, "Hey, can I go?" You know, he's got a couple friends
Yeah.
that are coming
Yeah,
and want
they'll
to
come.
watch and stuff. They want to get.
They just kind of they're interested, right? They may
Well,
be
there's also,
intrigued.
like Josh, you have a lot because Josh has a he went for 4 years for the auto tech in Round Rock, so he's got a lot of friends that actually know how to work on stuff. But I noticed because I would go in there and I'd help them every now and then. But even the friends that he's got, Josh, they're into cars, but they're not doing this. It's like drag
Well,
racing has left.
When you talk about how much it costs
Yeah.
for the Holly, for the
Yeah,
sensors,
yeah,
for the
yeah,
front
it-
body,
Yeah.
for
It,
it's
I
like,
mean,
whoa, wait a minute, and people are like, that's you don't got a house wrapped up in that car.
right.
It's
I mean,
definitely not cheap,
For
it's
the
not cheap.
street, we don't
and it's
have
gotten
a lot
even
of
worse the
kids
last
on
probably
street.
what a year.
Yeah, just the
like
supply
the
chain
Dominator
stuff.
used to be
Yeah.
$1,600. Now it's 24.
It's gone up.
2600.
It's gone up 2 times this year. There's been a price in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, from like it used to be like 1,800 about maybe about 6 years ago. But yeah, it's 2,500 now. So inflation. I mean that's just unfortunately the beast, and it's gotten a lot worse this past couple of years just because whatever supply
Yeah,
chain.
my friend's
shit.
brother was like his age, his nephew, and he had a '70 Camaro with a little 355 in it, I think, and he would drive it to Little River with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, this kid's like, he's got this Holly system.
Yeah.
This was like 20 something years ago, you know.
Yeah.
He's got this Holly system. He was like the first one I ever knew that had a Holly, and he got in his truck, got out this Pro Charger,
Yeah.
bolted on that deal, bolts his deal on
Oh,
there
shit.
at the track.
Yeah.
Well, he made a run like on
Yeah.
his base. What he drove there with, I think around a 13 something,
It's all on the
and then he
keyboard.
puts his Pro Charger on there and goes over there and runs like a 10.
Yeah.
I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this kid like really knows what he's doing.
Yeah, that Avenger, I guess it was an Avenger that some of the early EFI stuff. That EFI stuff's been around. They used to have the projection shit 20 years ago. Holly
they've
did.
had
So
it.
anyway, but
Yeah.
the Dominator's superior, right? The HP Dominator or something. So, what kind of car do you got? Kind of car you guys got building up?
Got a Falcon 66,
66.
small block Ford, twin turbo.
So what are you looking to do? You gonna do some following your dad's footsteps? You can do some track,
That
street?
car's gonna be mainly no prep,
No
street
prep.
wise.
Okay.
Do you have any friends that you're influencing to bring onto the scene, or
I'm trying.
what's going on? You're trying just like
Yeah.
Josh. He's
Yeah,
he's
we
trying
got
to
to.
get
I
'em.
mean, that's all we can ask for, right?
Yeah.
'Cause the generation is
And I don't think it's lack of money. I think it's just they just don't have that.
It's a lack of interest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because their parents or their people they know, nobody does that.
Yeah, they
don't
take
know
the
nobody
cars
does it.
in to
They
get
don't
worked
even
on.
know about
Yeah.
that.
Because there's a bunch of nice cars.
A
That
lot
they
of them,
have,
if you see
but
like
it's
the
not
NHRA
brand
finals come on TV and you got on there, they go, "Oh, what's that? Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool," but I've never
Yeah,
seen that before.
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
They just haven't been introduced
That
to it.
exposure. It's
Yeah.
just that exposure.
Yeah.
And that's what it
The
takes. You know,
ones
that's all we
that
can
have
do.
been exposed are doing the dumb stuff.
And that's the way you
like
do it.
donuts.
When they were
The
like
takeovers.
I guess 4 or 5. He was like 4 and his brother was 6. I guess I took them to the Nationals the first
Yeah,
time.
in Ennis or something.
My dad and me and them went. From then
That's
on, it was
I know,
they
man.
took pictures beside the blower motor, you know, and the motor was bigger than they were, you know.
Yeah,
And they were hooked.
It's something
man.
when you first hit that whiff of nitro and it burns your eyes and
Oh yeah,
gags
that scared them to death. We were standing behind John Forst and them, and they started it up and it was
Yeah,
cackling,
man.
and
They
they were
whop
standing by us and they whopped it, and they dropped down and hugged my legs, and they were like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, that's
If I grow up, I'm gonna get one.
that's what I'm. That's what I remember when I went back in '88 with. Maybe 89. Anyway, so yeah, I look forward to that when I take my little one, one day, and he's probably gonna get a blast. So.
It's kind of the best of both worlds now
Yeah.
for the kids because, when we were young, the cars were all right fast,
Right.
but they weren't real fast.
Right.
Right from the get go. Now you can go finance a car,
Yeah.
800 horsepower.
Yeah.
Go out there and get it and act a fool.
Yeah.
They ain't like a race car, but
Yeah.
still.
But it's still got the power.
Got the
I mean,
power,
yeah,
you
Well, back when we were kids and go to the Nationals, the dragsters, the top field dragsters were running high fives.
yeah.
We got cars that are running
doing
that
5.
now.
Yeah.
That's
Like-
kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
I got door cars running.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it evolves. To your point, it's just faster.
kind of turnkey
Yes,
now.
yeah. So it's a good point. So we do like to talk to the next gen because give a
Yeah.
perspective of what their interest is and what they're looking to do. So you're gonna have a car coming out. What time frame you looking? Hopefully soon.
Yeah, probably by like the beginning of the year.
Oh, there you go.
That's real.
That's basically 6 weeks away. So
Yeah.
Do you play video games?
That means somebody's
Time
gonna
It's a
get busy.
lifestyle. It's a lifestyle for your
I've been
generation.
trying. I try to get a little done each day.
Timeline.
I try to do something on it each day.
yeah, timelines. Got crunch time, Dad. Got
Yeah.
crunch time.
You got a big
Yeah, I can't just go
Christmas
pay
list? I
somebody
haven't
to
seen
do it. I
yet.
gotta do it all myself. So it's
No?
kind of
So
No.
let's kind of jump in. So let's talk about the event this weekend because
Yeah.
from what I understand, this is the first event back from your surgery. I mean,
I mean, it's been like 4 months, I guess, since we went to the last event,
okay. So
and
how was this weekend for you?
well, it was exciting. I mean, we were gonna go to the thing Saturday, the
Right.
Burger Fest, but it got canceled.
It was
Right.
lucky. For
I was
him
like
this
up in
weekend.
the air. I was like, I don't think I want to really go. I don't know if I want to do that or not. And he came and woke me up
You're going,
like 6 in the
Dad.
morning. He said, "Are we going or not?" And I
Yeah.
said, "Yeah, let's go." Shoot, we went and loaded up, and went, and
Yeah.
things just went the right way. It's
So how many rounds are we looking at? How many rounds you go?
5.
Pretty dang good. So was that to the finals?
Yeah.
Final round. Pretty damn good.
Pretty good,
So out of
yeah.
17, hey, it was a kind of a last minute deal, I guess. I mean,
Yeah, and
it was
we had a problem all day pedal festing it. I could not
Yeah.
make that thing hook on that stuff. I mean, we turned it all the way down as far as we could,
yeah.
and still was blowing the tires off. But I could make it backdoor most of the time, and catch most of them people.
So who'd you go to the finals with? Who was in the finals? with you?
Matthew
Was it
Tamara.
Matthew? Yeah, okay, that's what I.
Yeah, Matthew came over, man. I like talking to him because he comes over and he goes, "This is what we're doing. This is what we're having to do because of
Yeah,
the
he-
situation."
He
and,
kind of laid it
And
out
I'm
there.
like-
Podcast.
and I'm like, "Is this guy for real? Is he really whooping people's ass with this Mustang?" And then he sends me the photo yesterday. He goes,
Yeah.
"Here's the photo. We took it." I'm like, "Damn,
Yeah,
this
well,
dude."
I mean,
and he's
so
one of the youngest ones.
there's
know,
a thing
with
about
guys.
with for a lot of those guys, they test their ass.
Yeah, oh, they
Yeah, he
He put in the
spends,
time.
spends a lot
And
of
it takes
money and
testing.
time
Yeah,
to
it
put
takes
in
testing,
to get there.
so-
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
he's been here, 2 years.
Maybe he said
2
from
years on the
17 or
scene.
16.
Yeah,
18. They might have been 4
we used
years,
to
yeah.
do a whole lot of
He's
testing, man. I mean,
done,
me and
a
Steve
lot
would
in
go out,
Yeah.
and we'd all go out and
He's
test.
number one
And
on our list.
this time we just didn't have no time to test. I wasn't really even
Right,
planning on doing no prep stuff. We had it set up for a prep track.
gotcha.
And
So that's a different ballgame, yeah. That's a
Oh,
different
yeah.
ballgame, so
but we figured we'd just go play with it and see. And
Yeah. Well,
it
cool.
usually
deal.
does pretty good. Anything we do.
I like that because so Matthew and the Texas Speed Justin with the
Justin
Firebird.
Kyle.
Yeah. So he.
The car is fast.
So
Oh,
he, I guess he won the losers bracket, right? He won
Yes.
the consolidation match over there, so he won that. So those guys, you know, they're on fire. Like I said, being that it's the end of the year, what are some of the updates y'all gonna do for next year? Are you? I mean, not that you want. If you don't want to share nothing, hey, you know, it's fine.
Not updating nothing. We're just gonna do some maintenance and go back out and
No
be
rock
ready.
and roll, huh? Be rock and roll. So
Well,
so
we're gonna be doing
Seaver,
some updates on his, getting his all done. But other than that, that's it.
so Seaver's got a race in January, I believe,
Yeah.
right? So y'all gonna maybe
Probably so. I
yeah.
usually race a lot. I mean, I've won like 4 or 5 of his. I think with the white car.
right.
Actually, I was the king of the river from his races back then.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I used to have to battle Dwayne and
Dwayne the
Kevin
Biddle.
Johnson.
Yeah. Well, there's a new player in town. You know, who he's been around. So I mean, definitely a car to look out for. Now, question to you? Do you kind of mentioned it? You know, street or track? I mean, I know you're more of a street guy.
Mostly street.
Because I know going to the track requires you getting a road cage, but if it's a
fixing to
top end
change
race,
that.
you don't need a cage.
He's
do you?
fixing to change that though, because he's got a little '70 Camaro.
There you go.
It's
Split
gonna have a
bumper.
cage
Come
in
on. All right. There you go.
He'll
You had
always
to-
have
you had
that
to break.
street truck.
Yeah.
He's still gonna have his truck, but he's
Of
building
course.
him a car.
Okay.
He's gonna be.
Yeah, I want something lighter, more competitive. And there again, I don't dislike racing at the track,
Right.
but street racing is just more
Yeah.
more exciting for me.
Well, don't they have an actual? I mean, because your truck will fit fine
Yeah,
going
'cause-
against Hellcats, going against
'Cause didn't
the
Matthew
ZR1s.
say-
I mean, your truck will do really good against these stock fast cars. Because these new cars, they have 800, 900 horsepower.
You
on the
get
street.
that, you get
AC,
that
air
rule
conditioning.
though, like a 2011 and newer, you don't have to have a cage. That's why they
Yeah.
get away with
Yeah, 'cause
that.
the
you know?
structure-
That's
better.
in their trade too, because that's what like, man, how is that
Yeah.
possible? I guess it's something in the
Because
skeleton.
the structure
right?
they
Yeah.
have built is supposed to be good enough to
rigid enough to. Yeah, because I seen some rules because it was like 550 for some of these stock
Really?
classes. Yeah, 8th mile,
Wow.
and it's like and no cage requirement.
I mean,
Obviously
look
it
at that.
comes down
Look at
to-
the Tesla. The Tesla
Yeah.
Plaid, man. They're
Yeah, they're running 920s or 8. I think they're going 890s.
yeah.
Yeah, so they got.
It's the exoskeleton, the
Yeah.
frame of everything.
Yeah.
So you got a new car coming out. You know, what's the timeline on that? Does that look like you're willing to share?
Just whenever it gets
Soon.
done. Hopefully soon. Hopefully this next year.
Big block, small block.
Big block, nitrous. That's what I have now.
Unless I can talk him in a turbo.
Now, that's gonna require a lot more money.
Yeah.
In the
Well,
meantime,
I just
though,
need the car, and then
yeah.
we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, hey, I dig it. Like I said, look forward to seeing you out. And so what I was gonna go on to like for next year stuff. Being that we're gonna get some Calabrese, I know
Yeah.
Calabrese. He could probably shed a whole lot of light on
Yeah.
a ton of things and how he goes about. Because
that
apparently
going
he's the guy that puts everything together, right?
Yeah.
yeah, he's the
So-
admin of the group,
Admin,
and
right.
he's
What's
the
down?
one that,
Say the name again of the group.
ATX Dig.
ATX Dig. Okay.
ATX dig. So
And he's had it around for since what year?
I don't remember it
Probably about
exactly.
10
I think
years,
it's
I believe.
Okay.
2008, maybe. He said.
well, like I said, we're gonna get a lot more
Actually, I
information on
Yeah.
probably tomorrow because
Yeah.
I think Ashton and Matthew.
Aston?
Yeah.
Ashton's coming on tomorrow.
Aston Bird Dog?
Yeah, Bird Dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we had Ashton and his dad on about a
Yep.
couple months ago, and
Yeah.
so that was like we all heard of Greg and Dykes, and your name was brought up with
Oh, everybody's
Tovar
name always comes up. There's always somebody in the word like, hey, we did
and
come.
Greg brought y'all's names up, so we knew that you and your dad were back around in those days. So and I think it's fantastic that. Because I know Cindy's the one that reached out to you and said,
She said, well, you had some comments, and I
Yeah.
had said, man, I
Yeah, we
talked
knew-
to her before,
Mhm.
just because
Yeah.
I met you, a long time
I
ago.
wanted you to do his cartoon.
The shirts, yeah.
the shirts.
Oh, yeah.
And man, to this day, I'm still
Backed up,
behind.
yeah.
He's still waiting on his 55. I got his Camaro out, but he's waiting for his 55. I'm like, well, now we got a podcast to work on.
I think that was like that was 2 years ago. No, it was about 6 months
Five.
ago.
Nah. But yeah, we finally got everything. But yeah, we want to do the podcast. And the reason why we did this podcast,
So anybody that y'all guys can think of,
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys want to come back, and if you want guys to bring some other guys back on, man, I mean, by all means,
Yeah, it's a new modern spin. You know, even on this social media stuff, photos don't do it no more. And for us, we think photos are cool. You're like video. We watch video. It's always video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're not watching video, if you're not catching up, if you're not changing nitros and going to turbo, you know,
He's
Hey,
number
man,
5 on the
we
list
stay
still.
behind. You know,
So
I still want my AC in my car, and that throws me out of the loop because I don't want to turn it into a. I call these new cars the battle cars because you know your day's coming. You know you're gonna wreck the crap out of it, and that's what it takes. Sometimes you try not to think about it, but the car's so fast you just can't avoid it, and it's gonna happen. You're gonna touch or run past the finish line sideways. It's not the way it used to be, where you could kind of control the car. You could see the track. Nowadays, you know,
Get along for the ride.
2-3 clicks and damn,
It
I
didn't
like
take
this.
didn't take but one little pat of the gas on the finish line, and you can be.
They unload something and just.
Yeah, I
do
did it in
something crazy.
January. I raced that guy and beat him. I beat him anyway. I was like, I'm gonna get him one little pat just to make sure, and it got loose and straight over to the guardrail, and I pulled a chute and it straightened it back
Straightened
out. But it, just tapped it a little bit.
Yeah.
It was like Seaver a couple weeks ago. He's like,
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
he was trying
We've
to,
seen this.
he was trying to outrun
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah, that's.
Had,
Yeah.
Well,
he's like, I'm gonna pat this big block one more time and
Yeah.
get by him, and he was like, yeah, he went
Yeah.
by him.
I mean, that was a
Well,
badass street pole too, man. God dang.
Yeah.
that's Chris. Chris is gonna.
Yeah.
Chris is
Well,
gonna,
Chris, you know,
he's in it to win it.
I was hanging out with him, talking to him way back when he had the, the blower truck, and then he had the Camaro, the Monte Carlo, but he didn't have a blower or nothing on it. But he's like, well, I said, what car are you taking now to San Antonio? Oh, I'm taking the Monte Carlo. They want me to do the wheelies, so I'm gonna ride wheelies with it, So for the camera, he's doing freaking wheelies. He's just playing with it, and I'm like, man, this guy takes this car like he's just at the rodeo. It doesn't scare him, man. This car was fast, but he was treating it like, like I'm gonna ride this thing, and
He brought it
He
this
did it.
weekend. The
yeah,
money man.
yeah, he bought,
Oh
he bought
yeah,
it.
yeah. I seen he bought it out. Yeah.
But
That's
he did his little
That gets
sticker
a lot of
on
attention when you do a 400 or 500 foot wheelie all the way down the track,
And he
and
was
you
like,
still
oh
run
yeah, I'm getting
five.
out. Just go
Yeah.
whack, I keep it up, and I'm like, at some point, man, you can't do that with these guys. You're the more horsepower you put into them, like you said,
Yeah.
you're gonna go.
I did that at Enos with
Yeah.
the Falcon. We
On
went
the
up there,
bumper.
and he says, we did like the 120, 60 foot. He goes, that ain't happening this pass.
Put some more in
Put
it.
some
Huh?
more in there, man, and I took off, and that thing it stood up on a parachute for 450 foot.
Yeah.
And I only let out of it because I saw I was drifting towards the wall,
Yeah.
so I pedaled it. And when I got done, Clyde was there.
Clyde
over there.
Scott. Yeah.
He said, he came up to me at the start line. He said, "You're one hell of a driver, dude."
Ah.
And that meant a lot for somebody like that to tell you that.
Yeah,
pro
Clyde,
like
he's a
that.
pro mod racer, and but yeah, it's usually when you do wheelies, sometimes you're it's either gonna ride out and look pretty, or you're gonna come down, and it's gonna fuck something up.
Well,
Yeah.
nobody remembers the winner. They remember the people doing
Oh, yeah.
with the wheelie.
the
yeah.
show.
Yeah, there were so many. There were so many videos of that right there. The night before that, Flacco had did a wheelie about 3 foot in the air all the way down like I did,
Oh,
but mine
yeah.
was all the way on the bumper. And
that's-
those videos, they were
They're
like
all on there,
all
popping,
over
they're
the
popping,
place.
That happens all the time at the track. But when you got a car that comes out on the street that can do that, like we had a guy
Yeah.
come out on our trash days a couple
Dustin.
years ago, Dustin, and man, he just put that bitch
On the
bumper.
street.
It was like on
Well,
the street.
that's what I was telling you about the street we
Yeah.
used to
Man,
have.
it was
That,
like,
that was hood.
like I
good.
said, I don't even remember who won that
Yeah.
race really. I bet he got
Tamayo, he did say that track, that part, that spot,
That's,
it's just like
that
literally
street was
hooks.
like a track.
It was hooked
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the
Yeah, he
favorite.
did say that, yeah.
To go run at.
Well, like I
Not
said,
anymore.
as long as you go take the speed bumps out of there, maybe I can go back to that.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
nice. I like that spot.
Y'all put a lot of work into that track, from what
Yeah.
I hear.
Yeah, just go find another good clean. Hell, if you can find a spot that's concrete, right? I mean, that'd be better, right? I mean, concrete.
It was-
Yeah, that's the
It
problem
was
with Austin.
concrete.
There's not a lot of concrete stuff around, really.
No,
Yeah.
there's not.
You know,
That
Dallas
one
is
was
all
concrete.
concrete. That's what they got
I
lucky.
know, isn't that something?
Yeah.
We need to go buy some land and go put up concrete about 100 foot, 200 foot
That's
path.
what I'm talking about.
Go find, just lay some concrete, man. Put a
Make
blacktop
it
on
nice
it.
and rough.
Yeah.
Go.
They
Well,
just
so
had this on.
so upon this going down, I'm sure we could probably talk forever.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you guys are willing to come back, maybe we come back some other time. We could probably
yeah.
continue. But Do you guys want to give a shout out to anybody? I know. I mean, you guys
You got
are
sponsors?
I mean, you can give
No,
a shout out
I ain't
to
got
your
no
garage.
sponsors.
You mention your garage.
Well, RS Automotive and Customs, Liberty Hill. That's what I do.
What do you guys specialize in other than alignment?
Alignment. I
We need
do.
to
I
take-
do a lot of
We need to take our car to you.
a lot of old car stuff. You know,
Yeah, so you can do
classic
that. So
stuff.
give a
I do
shout
a
out,
lot of
man.
maintenance
So
on new stuff.
what's your address and
1003 North 183
and
Right
Liberty
now,
Hills?
Liberty Hill.
Liberty Hill. So, I mean, I know you're just anybody you want to shout out to? Anybody that you failed to mention?
Just want
you
to
know?
thank my wife for always having my back. Cause,
There you go.
I wouldn't be racing on the street if
I
I,
know
didn't
that's
have
right.
a good spotter. Because like that first race, I was like, what? I'm not gonna go over there and race for like they had security, but
Yeah.
it was like I got.
Well, hey, you got your
That's
been
how I
there-
fell into that role.
She's been
I
there
felt
since last 6 years.
Yeah.
My personal spotter kind of. So.
Oh man, awesome! Like you gotta have that support, man. Without that support, we wouldn't be doing.
And the
it.
group, the
And
ATX
the group,
did-
yeah,
they-
Chris.
they we got a good program
We do.
with,
Okay.
with all the admin and the people in the group. It's like,
He works,
tight.
and you'll hear about it. But Chris he's the monumental person, along with Todd
Todd
Smith,
Smith. Yeah.
Okay.
for putting that together, for finding the spots. I mean, he works, hard to find
yeah.
us good spots to race at, and
He's got the connections with the out of town people too. So like,
That's
Right.
right.
Well, I
get
heard
invites to
also.
go.
I hear Calabrese works a full time job and he wakes up early and,
That's
and
right.
he still does his thing and he still does this.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
he's
so.
dedicated.
Yeah.
That guy is.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
serious.
one of the things that has changed as far as drag racing goes on the East Coast, because the gasser thing is real big out there. The head of that group runs it pretty much like you guys run it. Without you guys, I mean, you guys didn't say, hey, we're gonna do it like that or this
Right.
guy. He just got tired of the way the drag strip thing has been. He was a pro mod guy, big pro mod guy. He actually had the record filled on.
But he was a world champion in one of
Yeah,
the
world champion. He says, you know what, I'm done. It needs to go down back to exactly the way you guys are running it. And he's been doing it for the longest. He got some flack for keeping the cars restricted because they were saying, how can you not let my car come in when my car has this?
This
thing?"
is-
There's still a lot of that goes on because
Yeah.
they require now steel roof and quarters.
Yeah.
And
they're sticklers about that. I'm
So
saying.
it's
Yes.
starting to get more and more rules.
yeah,
Like
because,
they try to make
because
rules, but we just try to keep. That's the only rules: tire size,
Right.
body type.
And that's what he does too. He doesn't want to go any bigger than a 29 and a half.
And that's the
If-
kind of
if,
where a regular guy can build a car and still compete in
Well,
street
that's
racing.
that's,
And
that's
it's
the
like
whole thing, man.
when you go to the track, it's like when you see these guys
Yeah,
pulling in
the
with a
money-
stacker trailer,
yeah, we got deep
and
pockets.
they got like $200,000-$300,000 in a car. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, that's-
you
but
know,
there's
like
but there's
that.
nothing better than when you're at the track and you beat them guys
No.
with them stackers and all that money.
Yeah.
I
Well,
hear
you
you.
know what he did? What he did was to level that all out. He says, "Man, you can come over here. You can come, because I'm pretty sure some of those motors, because they have to run on motor and 4-speed, right? But some of those motors are running like you can clearly see they're making about 1,000 horsepower, And so what he does is all he did, different from what you guys are doing. He's just putting you in a weight class. You can have the biggest motor, but you're gonna have
It's
probably-
pounds per cubic inch.
yeah.
It's,
And
they
so
got
that's
like-
limiting.
Yeah, that would make a big difference on the way things work right now. If
Yeah.
it was
Exactly.
pounds per cubic
Yeah, but
inch.
then you
'Cause
got people that
there's
never
a lot
tell
of
you
light
the cubic
cars.
inch.
Well,
Well,
Well, they make
does
they
check.
still make
If
that
you
now,
win,
you
that's
can
what he
check them
checks.
the
with.
cubic inch
Yeah.
displacement. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so-
Only when you. I think
It's
only when you
expensive.
win.
It's like $800 for that tool or something.
yeah,
but
and that's
you
why a
just
lot
put
of
plug
tracks
in and
don't
check
do
it.
that.
Yeah.
And what they did, that'll.
Okay.
So it's like when we did the Rumble, right? That was you had a weight requirement, but so that kept like everything within a good racing.
Well, that's old school. Like
Yeah,
when my dad was
yeah.
first racing, he said they used to divide your cubic inch into your weight,
Yep.
and they had a little graph, and you racing G stock or
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
H.
Yeah,
stock.
that's
that's
exactly
kind of
what
how
it
the
Yeah.
Southeast gassers. It's a pound per cubic inch, but they have like the A class, B class, and C class, which
Yeah.
they broke it down. But that kind of goes back to what I was saying. That's why I started the CenTex Street Car Association. I mean, granted, my car's street legal. I mean, everything on that car: steel, glass, dash, signal lights, headlights, high beam. Everything works on that car. It's street legal.
Yeah.
So that's my thing was steel, stock, dash, anything past a rocker, you can have whatever. Back half, 4-link, lat, whatever. But my point is that what your guys are saying is that everything was kept within, a certain, it was good racing, what it came down to, right? And now, whatever going on now with no time, they're basically getting big cubic inch and gutting the car out, basically. No time. There's no requirements of weight. You got to have this. You got a 2,400 pound car that's got a 900 cubic inch motor. It's gonna be fast.
Yeah, eventually
They're running
realizing
430s,
I'm-
420s, and then no time class. So, but what you're saying, and you, is that there needs to be something that keeps the everyday guy that doesn't have the big pocket sponsors.
Yeah.
Keep us kind of something that we can be happy.
Can you drive it to an inspection station and get it inspected?
Well,
Well, wait a
I
minute.
can.
You're talking about for the track or
That's
for the
the point.
street?
Doesn't matter.
Well, like
Just
my truck,
for the
I
race.
mean,
I take it every year and go get it inspected
Yeah.
at an inspection station.
Yeah.
The guy drives it around.
So last time that car's been inspected was '98. I started getting classic plates, so every 5 years, right? So
Yeah, same thing I do.
So I get insurance. I take it off. I go get my plates. Take it off. Like I said, I haven't driven that car since on the street since '06, which my deal, right? That's just kind of
No, but you could go get it inspected.
if I wanted to, I could put another motor. I could drive it down if I wanted to. But
Well, that's
it's
the
just,
thing about these cars. You don't have to have nothing but the lights and shit to work. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. I mean,
but
basically.
we're not. But on the street, we're not being like that. I mean, like it's.
Oh,
Well,
no,
Jeff's got his inspection sticker on his car. I don't know where he
But-
got it
but
from.
no-
well,
Is that the
if anybody else ever sees it, he's gonna be in
nobody's
trouble.
Is that the
requiring
Beretta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody's requiring
chassis
that
car.
in our group.
Yeah, it is.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Though.
to your point is that yes, it's
So-
got an inspection ticket, but if they would go run the red,
So
like,
what?
hey, we're
We
just
just
sticker
want
company.
Oh, if they see that sticker, somebody's gonna be a felon.
But
Whatever.
but it all comes down to this: is that the class that would be equal for everybody. You don't have to have a big power out. You don't have the big cubic inch motor. As long as you have a car that fits the requirement and you have fun and it's fast, either at the track or the street. That's what I'm here for. That's what we're here for, right? That's what we're all here for. We all have that car that fits into those rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fast,
Which is
it's quick.
That's
You
right.
you dig the street. You're gonna have a track car, maybe street. Your Camaro's probably gonna be street
It's gonna
strip,
be
both, right?
both. Yeah. For real.
So-
Well, it makes no sense for me to like invest that kind of money
Right.
and not be able to get any pleasure of driving it around.
Of
Just-
course.
I don't want to just drive it off the trailer,
Of
make
course.
it pass, and put it back on
Yeah.
the trailer.
And
It's like
and,
that's
and
Yeah.
that's what it's about. That's what it should be about.
Right.
Your car. I mean, you could probably drive it on the street, run. You
We
get 85 if you
took
want
it
to.
We
Yeah.
took it to trunk or treat.
Yeah,
for
you
trick or
can,
treat.
right? But you choose to do more track and whatnot,
Yeah.
no prep. So we all fit in the bill. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a class where we're all gonna have fun. We don't have to have deep pockets. We don't need the stackers. Open trailer, screw it, right? Let's have fun.
yeah.
That's what it's about.
Well,
That's
some of
what
the
I'm
things
talking
that's becoming more popular, not so much around here, but in Dallas, they have no trailer. Where
about. Yes, we
you
heard
gotta
about
make a
that.
drive.
Yeah.
I mean, you see, like, and there ought to be a little rules on that because I went over there before, and the
Yeah.
guy's got like 3 jugs of gas in the back. He's got a fuel cell this big in the front with it's an LX Mustang with a fiberglass front end. He stops 3 times before we get to the first spot. And
Yeah,
fills it up,
basically,
it's
this
like-
is these are the races that Ashton. I mean, you basically go
Yeah.
to a spot.
Yeah,
You can
like-
unload your car to trailer, but you
Yeah.
got to drive to the
drive
next
from
spot.
spot to spot to
To spot to spot.
You can't go back on the trailer.
Only required. You can't put gas in, but that's it, right? You can't do nothing
Yeah.
else, right? But so, I mean, that's
If
cool. But
want
like
to
you
carry all
said,
them jugs, let them
I
carry all
know.
the
Yeah.
jugs.
that's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it is.
That's just a pain.
That's
in the
really not a
Yeah.
streetable car.
I hear you.
No.
I hear you.
When
They some of those guys that make those rules to bend the rules to either fit somebody they know that they know maybe it's gonna be an advantage to them or something, or maybe not. But because there's some fast cars. Because I heard like some of the, well, I don't know if some of those fast guys that do that trailer race, but I guess there was one a couple weeks ago that Matthew went to. They said it was really cold in Dallas. I guess the beater bomb or something was, come out there with that butt hurt bar and did all that stuff, and so of course you're gonna win. You that wherever he runs. I mean, I'm sure on the street there's no rules, but I mean, I'm sure there's some tracks that like, hey, you can't run that, man. It's
Oh yeah, you got a bar
that's
hand
an
out 15
advantage,
feet
man.
back there.
That was
Yeah.
crazy. I thought it was fake, man.
Yeah,
The thing
man.
really was working. I'm like, ah, damn.
Well,
I
you-
don't know.
the
you'll, be
thing-
build-
that,
you'll,
though.
you'll be building a model of that car someday.
I know. I'm like, well,
Well, he wins
I was going
money.
to sleep at night. I'm like,
he wins some money. I mean,
I was thinking, I'm like, man, why don't I do like some, have a, electronic control weight set up in the middle of the car, and then I seen that and I'm like, nah, that's stupid. Is that real? I'm like,
no.
there's a
But
freaking
it works.
weight,
It hurts him too, though.
Yeah, it does.
Because when he's like at the end of the track like that.
Oh, there's no tire
he can't
contact.
drive.
Yeah,
No, you
don't
can't.
have-
He's just stuck
probably doing that.
for a while. You know. So,
Yeah, that could be kind of scary
I
because
don't
you're
even
getting all
know,
that.
Is that weight even adjustable? Was it?
I
No.
think it's just you just
It's
change
50
weight.
pounds on the end
You
of
just
that.
change the weight on it.
That's
But he's got the
crazy.
shocks that extend 2 foot up in the air, so that's another good. You know, that's his thing too. Right? I mean, that's the one thing about no prep. The evolution of those shocks. You know, they started making those shocks with that travel because of the no prep.
See,
guys.
a lot of those guys probably got more in their shocks
Yeah.
than what I got
Yeah,
in my
them-
whole truck.
Them
you know?
struts are probably $2,000 a piece,
Yeah.
if not more. So yeah, it's. But you know, you could probably make it back if you go on and win a race and win $2,000. You know, you can win a race. But
Yeah.
anyway, so. But man, like I said, this is all good information. I appreciate the stories that you
Oh,
guys
man,
shared
it's
about your
great.
dad and where you guys started from. And like I said, we
Where
could
it's
probably
at.
talk forever. We
Well,
could probably talk forever.
this just explains it. It's not like there has to be a change, but
Yeah.
this just explains the level of where it's at today, and it really brings out what you guys are up against, why you want to build a different car, or why you want to stick with your car, why you do what you do, why he does what he does, and it just tells a story. Like I always say, it doesn't matter how you explain it. Somebody's gonna go away and they're gonna sleep on it and they're gonna say, "Damn, I need to change my game up," you know. And then you're gonna make somebody else say, "Oh, I can't wait to go race with those dudes. I think I can beat them." And then you know you got yourself another opponent to deal with. Gets more of your friends listening to it.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee before we came out with this podcast, everybody was just going to Facebook, just seeing a few
Yeah.
30-second vids,
Yeah.
and oh yeah, they did something a little in your. Now, people know your face with the car. When they go to the track, they're gonna be, "There's that guy. I remember that guy. He was on he was on that podcast, and that's the cool dude, or that's the cooler dude of that dude. Did you hear about that Mustang back in the day when he was?
Right.
That's that dude right there. You know, maybe you ought to sell a shirt. That's where I come in, buddy. Hey.
That's
Hey,
it.
you should check out Lone Star Street Racing
Let's do
on
it.
YouTube.
There you go.
There you go.
That's Chris Calabrese's
What was it again?
Lone Star Street Racing,
A lot of videos.
LSR. And then, of course, he also is the third honk person.
Oh, third honker. That's been around
I've
for
heard
a
that.
while. Long time.
That's actually, I believe, the first.
Nobody ever goes on the
evolution
third
that-
honk though. They always go on the
Yeah.
second.
That's what we used to do when he used to race, man.
I'm like, yeah. No.
Yeah. That's the 3 honks.
Yeah.
You know, that's what that was.
I wanna
That was
be
a
the
starter.
honker- I want to be the honker guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You're the passenger.
he has kind of fallen off
Yeah.
posting videos recently,
Yeah.
but a while back, that's if you wanted to see what was happening
Yeah.
on the street.
Yeah. That's where it was at. I remember I used to
Lone
watch
Star
it.
Street
Mhm.
Racing on YouTube and
Mhm.
Facebook, and you could see what we were doing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's always. I mean, I always wanted to see the. I mean, you can always see drag racing on TV. You know, at a track.
Yeah,
But to see the cool shit, the stuff that, you know, it's a little darker setting, you know,
Yeah.
the guy is more alert than the guy at the track. That's what I like to watch, you know, because you know he's racing against that pavement, and the other dude is too, so they're kind of looking at each other,
Yeah.
but there's a lot more variables that you have to know, which makes you a little bit better.
That's the
better
beauty
driver.
of the street. It's kind of
Yeah.
like you can
Neutralize.
have a guy with a better car,
Yeah.
and you can have a lesser car.
They're not always
The
gonna win.
street is like
the
it
street
becomes
is
more of the driver.
equalizer.
Yeah. That's the factor.
Street is the
Yeah.
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 The equalizer. There you go.
itself.
I would agree on that because again, it comes down
Yeah.
to the driver and not necessarily your car's performance, right? So
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, cool deal, guys. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. But like I said, be on the lookout for this episode. It'll come out soon.
Thank you.
And appreciate you guys coming out.
Oh yeah, thank you for having us.
And man, like I said, we could probably go for hours, but
This is the Ford people of today. This is
Yeah.
who you're messing with, the
Yeah.
Ford guys.
the Ford
So,
guys.
Chevy, you're on alert.
Oh yeah, she got a Chevy
I'll
Ford.
build it. I'll build
Yeah, but
anything.
your daddy was Ford. So you better
He's
get a
Yeah.
been
Ford one there.
Ford for a long time until he went Chevy.
Well, everybody's got hey, Chevy, Ford. We can go back and forth.
I like
but-
square
I don't
bodies.
discriminate.
We'll drive
Yeah.
anything.
I like
yeah,
square
we got
bodies.
yeah, as long as it's got 4 wheels, right? It don't
He's
matter.
got a Chevy, he's got a Ram, he's got a Charger, he's got it all,
Got all 3, the big 3,
We got a
basically.
Mustang too.
and a Mustang.
There you go.
That's the grocery getter. Oh, not that Mustang. You mean the old Mustang?
Yeah. Well, definitely, man. We'll be taking
Yeah.
his car to you. We need a good alignment, and
Awesome. I'm glad we got you a shout out on your company. Anything else, guys?
Hit
You
up
want to
the
share?
shop, guys. You know he does good work too.
Yes, sir.
I
Everybody.
do a lot of race cars.
Yeah, you can see his. You got a Facebook page.
Yeah,
A lot of cool
Facebook,
stuff on our swap meet list. He's always selling Ford stuff in there. You had that Ranchero for sale. Have you
It's
sold
gone,
it yet?
yeah.
It's gone. Damn, that was a really nice car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shop meet.
So by the way, yeah,
Yeah,
there's a swap meet December 3rd, this Saturday in Taylor
Yeah,
at Oscar's Garage.
Oscar's Garage.
So they usually have a lot of. It's a little bit of everything. They got a lot of hot rod stuff. Basically, it's a little bit of everything. But
It's a little bit of everything, but
I think it's gonna get a little traction because you guys been posting a lot of places, so it
Yeah.
might be pretty big.
Yeah, our sell deal on Facebook, Central Texas Hot Rodders, swap meet.
Swap meet page. There's a Facebook
He's on
page.
it all the time because I'm always seeing your stuff go up there. You got
Yeah.
really good Ford stuff, nitro stuff, some turbo stuff you put up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
part of our page, by the way. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, so
I got a lot of stuff that I had on there that was really good stuff, but we went and moved to something different. It was like new. I just, you know,
don't need it no more.
no, well, I don't need it. I don't have two of them. I only got one. So.
Keep posting it because you're getting somebody back in the game, you know, with your.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good deal on most of the stuff I put on there.
Okay. Well, cool deal, guys. All right, man. We're gonna wrap it up. Appreciate it, guys. Y'all guys be safe and careful. Be on the lookout for this episode. Peace out, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.